Hello, happy fans. Welcome back. It's Wednesday. It's a little past 12:15. It's 1 o'clock, and today we're going to be with you live for the next 3 hours. Yes, brace yourself for the next 3 hours, 1 to 4, because this is the Meet the Pros session. We've got 6 of my favorite vendor, partner, allied resources who we have aligned each other because of our like-minded in business, and we're giving away this Yeti cooler. Where is it at? There, the peripheral vision. There we go. This Yeti cooler. So, Jen, say hello. There's Jennifer LeBron. If you've worked with us, then you know Jennifer, and she helps the machine keep going and not run off its road. We're doing this today. So for the next 3 hours between 1 and 4 o'clock, go ahead and call our number. You'll get straight to Jen, and you can register to enter to win that Yeti cooler. In the meantime, I want you to meet some of our pros. Let's bring them all, not all of them. We got half of them on so far because they're going to come segmented. Yet we've got Taylor Young with Urban Young. So Taylor, you're going to be joining us and talking about your business and your vision, your goals, right around what the 120, right? You're my next guy.
That's right,
man. And then Heather, you're going to be a slot, I think, after Taylor there, right? And Heather's muted right now, but once she goes live, we're going to fix that. But I'm going to say goodbye to you two right now so you can sit tight. If at any point you guys want to jump in, I can still see you. Just wave your hands emphatically, and I'll unmute you. But in the meantime, I feel very powerful, like I'm Jeff Probst from Survivor. Be like, and you're gone. And you're gone. What's up, Ryan?
How you guys doing?
Good, man. So this is Ryan Ashford. We already have some comments going here. Let's see what comments. Jason Geller says hello. Jason also said, hey, Taylor, go Knights. So you can't see it, but he gave you a little fist pump there. And Heather, you said you love it, and you're going already hi to Jen. So the next 20 minutes, Ryan, we've talked a lot about the different education around it, from what are the interest rates doing to how can we repair interest rates. You're one of our go-to loan officers. You've done my loan. You've done my refinance. We've already got a first call. Check it out. Someone's in the line right there. My guess is it's Jason Geller because he's on it. Are we talking to Jason back there? I don't know. Can you hear her, by the way, Ryan?
I cannot.
Because I'm way louder. She's probably going to get very distracted and annoyed by me.
Absolutely.
But I want to make this about you, man. So tell our audience, this is going to be the Ryan Ashford Waterstone Mortgage 20-minute pitch. So talk to me about who you are as a human, as a dad. Talk about some profile pieces, and then some things that you think really differentiate you, your service, and your company's service. So just give us a shot, and I'm going to interview and do some profile piece on you.
Sweet. So my name is Ryan Ashford. I've been doing mortgages for about 2 years now. Prior to this, I was in medical sales and was fortunate enough to kind of stumble upon the mortgage industry, and been doing it for the last few years and really have enjoyed it. As far as family, I'm married to my wife, Kristen. I've got 3 kids. We spend most of our time at a baseball field with my teenager, and that's about it on me.
Well, your oldest boy is 15. He's in 9th grade.
Yes.
He's pitching for varsity at Lake Mary High, or where you guys?
Yes.
Lake Mary High, and he's got an offer and a commitment to pitch for the University of Miami.
Yes.
That's pretty legit. So good for you. Even better, good for him. Your background before mortgage is you spent some time in medical sales.
Yes.
How has that translated over for you from what you learned in medical sales, customer service wise, and kind of, because we're not in sales. No one's going to get a mortgage unless they want it. So no one's going to buy or sell their house unless they choose to do it. You and I are not in sales. We are in customer service. How has that translated over for you to give you that quick success that you've had these last couple of years?
Yeah, so actually what really helps to translate is when I was actually running dialysis centers, and it's just that every single patient is a human being, and every person you send to me, or every person that is sent to me, I treat them like a human being. I've purchased 6 houses on my own. I've had 9 different mortgages, so obviously got to refi 3 times. I had horrible experiences prior to this, so coming into this, I knew one thing I wanted to do is everything I could to make sure that people didn't go through the disasters I went through.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of disasters. That was a lot of the Big Short, which created the last bubble. I'm going to change a little bit of our banner down here real quick. Let me see what I want to do. I'm going to edit this because you said if somebody calls in during the next 20 minutes until 1:20, you will give them a free appraisal for their refi or for their purchase. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Call now and receive a free appraisal. All right, so now I'm going $500 value, and let's see if we can get this up there. Save that, because that's a big deal. So anybody who's thinking about refinancing, or even if you're not sure you will, there we go. We've got your contact now, and from now until 1:20, if they call Jen, let them know that they're eligible to receive a free appraisal. How long will be good for, Ryan? The next 12 months, by the end of the year? What are we talking here?
You know what? We'll let it go for a while. I'll say by the end of the year.
End of the year. So in 2021, if you lock in your application, Ryan's going to pay for your appraisal, which is give or take about $500. And so let's talk about that a little bit, Ryan. What exactly would somebody need? Obviously, if they're buying a house with a loan, then they're going to need an appraisal. Yet you said about 40% of your business right now is through refinancing.
Correct.
Talk to me about that, because rates have been ridiculously low, yet in the past week and a half, they're kind of creeping back up. So talk to me about what's happening in the mortgage industry.
Yeah, we just actually got off the phone with that, off a conference call with that. Rates are definitely going up. Has a lot to do with bond market is not doing very good. So bond market's not doing very good. Rates are going up. And so we're really and truly going through, we're really needing to lock loans immediately in this market because things are going up so quickly.
All right. So when we say going up, what is up? What are we looking
well,
at?
Let's keep it. Let's be realistic. This is the lowest rates that, we've ever seen in this country. I know I've heard of rates. They were just talking. Some people were talking about 8% and even higher than that. And obviously, seeing rates as low as in the twos is pretty impressive. I finally got one under 2. We did
under 2.
I did on a 15-year, but it was it's crazy how quickly they go down. One thing I did learn on the call today is that it takes twice as long for the rates to go down as they do to go up. So they go up a lot quicker. So we got to be real careful in this market.
So if someone's been thinking about it, I had this conversation yesterday. So we've got buyers. They've done they haven't done their pre-application yet. They've had that. I'm fixing to get ready to. He wants to file his 2020 taxes. He's self-employed, so that's important for it. They're about a $300,000 price point. So the two things I mentioned to him to kind of light a fire underneath them, I said, number one, rates have gone up 5 times in the last 7 days. Now that's what I've heard, but it went from about 265 to about 325.
Correct.
Is that about right in the last 2 weeks?
That's it.
What for a $300,000 loan? What does that half a point cost somebody per month? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know. Roughly, it'll probably be a couple $100 a month.
A month, right? So that
yes.
week and a half costs a couple $100 a month. So
100 to 200. I don't know the exact number.
So I told her right off the bat, I was like, so stop, because trajections say is going up. Now we don't know if it's going to stall at 3.5. We know if it's going to dip back down, but right now, get it. Now I'm curious, Ryan, because I might have given good advice or bad advice. If they were to lock it in with you, let's say at 3.25, and then next week rates go up to 3.5, they're still locked in at 3.25, correct?
That is correct.
How long is that locked in?
Hold on, that's assumed. I'm sorry. Is this a refi or is this a purchase?
You tell me. What's the difference?
So, on a refi, we're working right away. With a purchase, I need to wait for an application, or I need to get contract in order to.
Okay. So you need to identify the house. Refi, yes. You have the house. Oh, you need it. So once you've identified the address, they can lock in the rate. How long is that rate good for before you need to do another rate extension?
So we usually lock them for 30 days.
Okay.
But we can lock them 45 up to 60.
Okay. So if it's 3.25, they lock it in, and then next week it drops to 3. Can they get rid of the 3.25, or are they stuck with that?
Yeah, it's kind of like Vegas. You place your bets and you go with it.
So once you lock it, will that wheel spin it?
Yes.
No turning back.
Correct.
What would it cost them if they're like, no, I don't want to do it. Screw it, walk away? Is it just kind of theoretically? I'm not suggesting this, but theoretically, could they go to a different bank?
Absolutely.
A new rate. Okay. So they're shopping around there. So talk to me about your value proposition of why you feel people continue to refer you, your company, why you guys differentiate yourself versus either other brokers or other big banks. What about Waterstone Mortgage and what about Ryan Ashford separates you as a differentiator?
We do the tough loans. A lot of people try to go to, a lot of people go to the big box stores or the big box banks, and they get their mortgage, and they're kind of a number. They're working with somebody who, maybe makes a couple $100 on a commission on a deal, whereas that's my livelihood. So I need to get you to the finish line, where they may not care as much as I do. I'm going to go out of my way every single time to make sure that the self-employed borrowers have a shot, because a lot of times they'll go into these big box stores and they're not even looked at, or they're told that you don't make enough money, or you wrote too much off. We find ways to get people into places such as you.
Well, let's talk about that, because oops, there I go. I've been on the clock for 30 minutes and my camera said stop it. So now I'm back. Don't you guys worry, I'm not going anywhere. So I bought my house in August of 2019. So I did my application somewhere around June 2019, and I went from W-2 to self-employed in January 2019, where some of the traditional bigger boxes were going, sorry, Rick, you don't have a proven track record of self-employed yet. You guys did it. Are you allowed to say why or how you're able to do it? Because there's nothing wrong with it. It was just
after the fact, for sure. Yeah. So luckily, you had been incorporated for I want to say 10 years at the time.
Yeah.
And we got away with 1 year's tax returns. Plus, you also were receiving other revenues through the ventures you have with Keller Williams. So we were able to use that money. Plus, you had mama taking care of you.
Not my actual mother, my wife.
No, your wife.
I think I'm a 38-year-old with parental allowance happening here.
Yes, no.
My sugar mama, yes.
Your sugar mama, that's what I was talking about.
Thanks for that. I'm sure she loves being referenced there as we go live here.
You did good.
Well, what I love about that is I was in a rock and a hard place, and I had my house. I also had 3 kids under the age of 4 and 3 dogs. So listing your house when you want to get top dollar with that sort of chaos happening, I knew I was leaving money on the table. So our goal was we want to buy first, move into it, then stage our house, and then sell it. So our goal is to be able to approve for both mortgages. Other people said we can't do it. You said, you know what? Give me 4 hours. And I think your boss, and your underwriter sat in a room for 3 or 4 hours, looked at all of our just ridiculous paperwork. You said we could do it.
Yes.
So thanks, man. So that is, I will endorse that. If he always says, give me the tricky ones, and that's kind of his way to get his foot in the door. By all means, he can also do the easy ones. So you got to be careful with that tagline of we will close your hard loan. He'll also close your easy loans.
Yes.
What's been your biggest kind of attaboy moment when you look back and you're like, wow, I pulled that one off, and I'm a big deal. I'm a BA right now, and you're kind of giving yourself a little pat in the back. Talk me through that story of one that you thought was dead and you were able to resurrect it.
That's it happened last month. It was 2 people, or it was a VA loan. Couple just moved here from Pennsylvania. One of them had only been in the country for a year, and everything that could go wrong with a mortgage or with a loan did. I mean, it appraised for $25,000 under it. We switched a job 2 weeks before we closed. What else were some of the good things? They had a lease on furniture, and if they didn't pay it off, it was a $10,000. It was $10,000 to pay it off, or if they made payments, it was $500 a month. So that really threw them off. What we were able to do is speak with the folks that held the lease, and were able to get that paid off, which ultimately eliminated the $500, which made them eligible again.
All right, so what did you do? Right, that's all the layout. But what did you do that you pulled it off? Was it Waterstone magic? Was it Ryan magic? Was it just the whole teamwork makes the dream work magic? What happened?
It was 100% teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay.
I've got an outstanding processor who really just pushed everything as far as she could go. And then when we needed to get involved, we got involved. Fixing some student loans, everything that could go wrong with a loan went wrong. But working with the underwriter, working with our underwriter, working with our processor, all three of us together on the same page, we were able to get it through.
Bam. I love it.
Yeah.
Again, if you guys are just joining us on here and you're live on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you click. I think it's smash. You got to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. That's what the YouTubers say these days. You got to smash it. But give a call right now. You've got a scrolling number down in the bottom, and you can win this Yeti cooler behind us. It's fresh off the rack at Academy Sports. Thanks to our partners for helping us do this. Our goal today is to be able to tell their story and introduce ourselves to a lot of you guys out there who might be watching. And if you call in the next 5 minutes, Ryan, who's with Waterstone Mortgage, will also pay for your appraisal for your refi or for your new purchase between now and the end of the year. I want to go back to refi a little bit because it used to almost be a no-brainer to at least explore it because rates were there. Right now, rule of thumb is if you can reduce it by at least a point and you're going to be in your house for 4 or 5 years, is that a good time to look into refi?
I used to say that was the only reason to refi. I've also found people that have a lot of equity in their house that are just drowning because of credit card debt that, paying at 17, 18%, just every month trying to make it by paying the minimum. But that minimum was crushing them. By refinancing, they're able to, go from, $3,000 a month down to $1,200 a month, to $1,400 a month.
You struck a nerve a little bit. And I don't know if it's good or bad because it just is. So what you're saying is COVID's impacted somebody or medical or whatever's happened. Someone's up to their eyeballs in debt and they are drowning. They're on the verge of getting utilities shut off. They're on the verge of their car getting repoed. They're on the verge of their credit cards getting maxed out. And every dollar seems to go to debt and they just can't get out of it. Yet they're sitting on this house they've lived in for 6 or 7 years. That's doubled in terms of appreciation and value. And they could do a cash out refi. So I owe $100,000. My rental, for instance, my wife bought a rental property back in 2010 for $120,000. Great time to buy a house. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath in Castleberry. Fast forward now, it's been 10 years. We've paid down the debt to $75,000. Yet its market value now is about $275,000.
Yep.
So if I am up to my eyeballs in debt and I'm just facing it, yet I'm sitting on this home that I've lived in for 10 years, that's now I have $200,000 of equity. You're almost going use your house appreciation as a bailout system.
It's 100% a bailout. Yes.
Yeah.
It's better than bankruptcy in a lot of cases.
Well, and that's why I was a little bit hesitant of that. Make that such a close last resort because, owning a home is the greatest way to build wealth. So by consuming the appreciation of your home through bad decisions, just make sure it's like a nip it in the bud, and you don't keep that credit card flowing. You don't keep the lavish lifestyle of overspending. That is the bailout to then change whatever happened if you can. We know that life sometimes shows up.
Well, I did one the other day though that was for the positive reason. Their kid got into a school that was a lot bigger than what they could afford, and they needed some money, so it was a good reason. The other reason you're going to want to refi right now is if you're paying mortgage insurance, if you're in an FHA and you've got 80% or you've got 20% equity in the home, you might want to if you're paying a pretty high PMI, it may make a lot of sense even if
even if rates stay the same.
Yes.
You're going just go from FHA to conventional.
I just say $300.
Because now we can get your PMI gone and your payment's going to go down. Oh, man. Hey, in the final 2 or 3 minutes we've got here, what do you want your audience to know as we resend this out, as we take this clip and put it out on YouTube and we make it a profile piece on a website? What's some things you want people to know about you, your organization, the way you operate, the way you work?
Yeah. So what you see is what you get. We're as open and honest as we can. We try to communicate every bit of the way. Our rates are very fair, and we get people into houses. We get people that have been denied other places into houses. We get people that have great credit into houses. We get people into houses ultimately. And it's as simple as that.
I love it. All right, we got 1 more minute. If you want to give a call right now to get that appraisal, Ryan, we're going to let that appraisal go over another 5 minutes because she's on the phone right now. So
you can run it till the end if you'd like.
Till the end, bam, mark it down to the end until 4 o'clock. I'm going to take down your little banner. You've got it till the end. Hey, Ryan, you're going to come back at 2 o'clock and we're going to do some little bit of a Q&A quiz show, some Hollywood Squares maybe. You can join us back at 2.
I'll be back at 2.
You can stay in the studio if you want, so I'll see you down at the bottom. But I'm gonna bring in, I think, Taylor.
Good luck, Taylor.
And see, that wasn't so bad. You guys were all worried. What are we going to talk about?
Job, Ryan is loaded, man. He's taking notes over here.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to call to get the free appraisal.
Do it. Hey, Jen, did Taylor call in yet? He wants the free appraisal. he wants that free appraisal. All right. No, we are all good. Ryan, thanks for jumping on. We'll see you in a bit.
Thank you.
Taylor, you are back by my popular demand. You're becoming an expert in my StreamYard app now.
People are tired of seeing me on your lives, man.
Yeah, no, it's not, because I typically 30 minutes is usually not enough because we can keep talking. So you and I, I've always enjoyed our conversations, high level thinking, high level, business development. You are in your young 30s, right? I think I've got a couple years on you, yet you've owned this insurance company, Urban Young. You are the young of Urban Young. I always forget who I met back in 2010, but it's someone from your Susan. Who's Susan in your organization?
Yeah, Susan Erb. So Susan and Rod Erb were the Erbs of Urban Young. And at that time, she was out pounding the pavement. You probably met her at a realtor event or some sort of networking deal. And yeah, the rest is history. So I guess we've known each other done business together for about 10 years. And then I'm not the only Young. So my brother and I and Rod Erb founded the agency back in 2011. So, and technically it should be Erb, Young, and Young, but just doesn't sound as good.
Then you'd be a law firm, and that'd be weird.
Yeah. Exactly.
So do you or Brett claim the Young? You guys kind of share custody of the Young?
I'm the younger brother. So, for example, when my dad had hand-me-down golf clubs, they went to Brett. For some reason, Brett assumed that that's what would happen, and that's been happening all my life. So, yes, I will not claim the Young. I'll let him do that.
So maybe we call it Herb Young and Younger.
Yeah, nice. There you go.
Done. So that's interesting. In 2011, you opened up, and that's probably when I met Susan, because I was not selling real estate very long in 2011. I did it for 6 months, and then became a team leader. And they had events downtown called Red Carpet Mondays.
Yes.
And for $20, you'd have some drinks included, and a bar would open up downtown. And it was from like 7 to 10. What I loved about those events is everyone knew they were there to network. So you didn't have, oops, I'm frozen. Let me unfreeze. And I'm going to keep talking. You still hear me, right, Taylor?
Yep,
at least the
I can still
microphones.
hear you.
We're going to figure this out.
It's kind of nice. I have the whole screen, man. So this is nice while you figure it out. While Rick's waiting to get back on here, call in. That's a nice Yeti cooler. So I'm
Oh, you don't hear me right now?
No, I did. Now I hear you.
You hear me now? We are live, folks. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to change cameras. And
Troubleshoot.
Yep, and then change cameras. And back, baby. What did you hear? I told the most amazing story just now. Did you?
I lost you for like 30 seconds, and then I had the entire screen to myself, and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Back in your UCF days, the Megatron, just staring at yourself.
Yeah.
No, I said this Red Carpet Monday, you'd go there, and it'd be this speed dating for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I'd have 100 business cards, and it's like, what do you do? What do you do? Exchange and next.
Right.
And it wasn't awkward to go up with your business card in hand. So I met Susan. At the time, I needed some insurance. That was in 2011, so I owned Avalon Park House. Since then, I've sold that, bought Lake Pickett House, bought a different Lake Pickett house, moved to this Lake Pickett. I've lived around 3 Lake Pickett houses, and then had different cars and boats, and now camper, and I've gone just here. So what I love is I give your team a call over there with Tori, and I go, renew me, up me, just got a new roof, requote me, and you guys are a one-stop shop. So thank you for that. And thank you to Susan for being at the Red Carpet Monday that day.
Isn't that funny how those relationships and those meetings somehow, can carry through, and you don't even realize how long it's been. That's crazy. And now we've become good friends, and we work together a lot. So, I'll definitely shoot Susan a text when we get off and just say, remember Rick and Red Carpet Mondays.
She'll say no. She'll know Red Carpet Monday.
Yeah, for sure. That used to be a thing.
Well, and so now we're thinking of this, of going, we are one conversation away from changing the trajectory of our life. We just never know when that conversation is, who it's going to be with, right?
True.
But you can look back to before you created this. It was probably off of one conversation that really started things spawning a little bit. So talk to me about that. How did you get in the business of insurance? Because it's not exactly a sexy thing to do, of going to sell insurance. So talk to me about what about this made it a family business for you?
That's a great question. I was a basketball player growing up, and so I ended up playing at UCF, went to high school locally, and then near the end of my senior year, I kind of figured, I remember my dad coming to me and be like, hey, at some point this ends, right? You got to get a job. And me thinking, yeah, you're right. I'm not that good. So I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is going to end. I got to figure out what I was going to do. I was going to school, health services administration. I was thinking hospital management, medical sales. I had some friends that were being successful in it and figured that's where I'd land. Ex-athletes, it's a great spot for them. And so when I was coming out of my senior year, my brother was working at another agency. And he was having some success, but it's really a rough business in the first year as a producer when you're doing, you're eating what you kill, and just had some different challenges with the current agency he was at. And he just sat me down at Chipotle, talk about a conversation, changing your life. I remember it was the Dr. Phillips Chipotle. It's now where our corporate headquarters, if you will, are. Then I go to that Chipotle like 3 or 4 times a week. But he sat me down, wined and dined me over about an $8.50 burrito. And just said, hey, man, I've been looking to do something different, looking to build a team somewhere. I've interviewed a few places, wasn't necessarily looking to start a business, but just couldn't find what he was looking for. And he was like, hey, what do you think, me, you, and Rod, give this thing a crack? And he just said, I need a point guard. And at the time, that was the language that I could relate to. I said, well, man, I could do that. I don't know anything about the profession, anything about insurance, but that he recruited me into the business. So the 3 of us started it and kind of never looked back. And here we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary about 17, 18 days ago.
I love it. Happy anniversary. And I'm going to go back to exactly what credentials, what skin you had in the game. But I thought I'd grab this from the wall real quick. You see that degree? Boom. You see what it is? Health Service Administration.
Yep. Oh, I didn't know we had the same degree.
Yeah. How about that? So
what year did you technically graduate?
2005.
Okay. Oh, so I was 11, but it also took me 5 years, and I did summer school every year. So that's how much I was, crushing school.
So we almost crossed it. I think I did 4.5 years. I had some fun there. But you said health administration. I'm like, oh, there's another connection. So you are 22. You're out of college. You've been loving the student athlete life, and that's kind of been just a whole different world, if not reality. It's been tough in its own ways, but it's not adulting. Mm-hmm. What skin did you have in the game? What qualifications? Where or when did you think, what the heck am I doing? I'm in over my head.
Probably for the first 4 years.
Okay.
It was funny. Our story, we had no money. I was getting out of school. I mean, I was very grateful that I was able to move back home with my parents, stayed at my parents for 3 years. We picked up kind of some part-time jobs, doing some call campaigns, just stuff that I could kind of continue to live. I mean, I was grateful. Again, I had an old beater car that was paid off. So as long as it didn't hit me with a big bill, like my expenses were like almost zero. Getting out of school. And I remember thinking to myself, if I can do this now and it works out well, I'll be super happy. But if it doesn't work out, I'm probably going to still be pretty employable at some point, and I'll learn a lot of lessons. And my dad gave me really good counsel in that regard. So no insurance experience, really no real professional experience other than, summer camps and picking up odd jobs here or there. So we just kind of jumped into it really hard, organically, just kind of friends, family, just asking for opportunities. And then really shifted our focus to real estate professionals and mortgage professionals, and just trying to build a business to serve those referral partners. And so I think that was an interesting part of our story, because a lot of the insurance business, or some of the insurance business, some of these agencies have been around a long time. They're third generation, fourth generation, big books of business, experience. Man, we didn't have any of that. So we were scratching and clawing, not only to learn a lot quickly, but also get out and hustle and try to figure out who we could serve to kind of build a business. And so for those for 3 or 4 years, man, it was really tough. And I think once we hit the 5-year point, we kind of knew that, hey, it sounds like we're going to stay around. We had some key team members join the group of people and just kind of never look back.
So your organization in the past 10 years has grown exponentially. You are now in at least one, looking to get into a third, or at least two, looking to get into a third location. What does your organization look like now? How many policies or people are you serving? And what does the next 10 years look like for you?
Man, that's a good question. Gosh, it gets my heart beating because next 10 years is exciting, but it's just a lot. It's almost like your mind can work faster than your hands, as my brother always says. So, we're fortunate, man. We have an incredible team. I think there's now 23 of us on the team. Minus we have some virtual assistants and staff that really help us in the back end too. So, from a customer base, I don't know. I think it's now 6,000 policy holders or something like that now. And we've really been fortunate in that regard too. So we're big team people, we're big culture people, and we're just trying to create a vehicle that we would want to be a part of. We're trying to create a vehicle that somebody could plug into and kind of get what they want as far as a team member goes, and recruiting into the insurance industry. That's not the most sexy industry. People don't look at it when you grow up. People want to be firefighters and stuff like that. They don't necessarily want to be an insurance agent. But I think it's an industry that has a lot to offer. I think it's an industry that is challenging, but you can serve people. And I think it's an industry that is a great long-term quality of life. And I've found a lot of fulfillment in that industry that I never thought I'd be in.
I love it. It's a lot of real estate. As you saw my degree, I had the same aspirations of you of let's go run a hospital and have that business management, but also the security of healthcare. Real estate was never my radar. I had a good friend who was doing well in it. I was actually in social work. That's what I used my degree for, to work in social work. And I hit a plateau and hit a ceiling. He called me up in May of 2010, similar to probably when you had Chipotle. I had Smoky Bones, and we had
get the
a meal
donuts
at the same time. No, man, I can't get this figure and eat donuts. I don't know what's wrong with you with that. I worked hard to keep this figure.
You and me both, man.
I used to work at Smoky Bones. Every time the donuts walked by, I felt like Winnie the Pooh following honey. Yeah, smelling it.
Is it the Smoky Bones on Alafaya? Is that the one you used to work at?
That's one I used to work at in Waterford Lakes.
Nice. Yeah, I used to go there.
Yeah, I feel like I've worked at every restaurant, every franchise. That was my pitfall when I started real estate in 2010. It was because I knew how to bartend. And so I'll go sell real estate during the day, bartend at night, and keep the bills paying. But some lessons I heard there for the entrepreneur, whether you're 22 or 52, you're looking to go out and start your own business. What are some lessons that you learned intentionally or accidentally that you would give advice to somebody looking to do something in an industry they have no clue about?
I'm so glad we didn't have money. What we spent on the front end was a lot of our time. We didn't have money to spend, didn't have credit to leverage. No bank in their right mind would have lent us any money, and they shouldn't have at that point. And so those first couple years, we just put a massive amount of sweat equity in. And I think in those first couple years, we were figuring out what we were doing. We were figuring out our business model. We were figuring out who we were going to serve, why we exist, making a lot of mistakes, learning from them. And then after, and then we were also creating demand. I have kind of this framework that fits in my mind that go create the demand first, and at least our type of business, right? Like a lot of entrepreneurs get excited, you get an idea, you get a website, you get a logo, and now you're off to hire your first employee. And it's whoa. Is there any demand for what you do? Has the marketing been built? Have you proved that what you do is valuable to somebody? And I think when I look back at our journey, and I still look at this and I said, man, continue to create the demand first. And then while you're creating that demand, you can figure out processes and systems that work well to serve the people that value what you do. And then from a scale perspective, you can scale with team members. You can scale with people coming alongside of you to join the journey and the mission you're on. But that's the framework in my mind where I've learned from our journey is thank God we didn't have any money. And thank God we didn't know what we were doing. Because we were able to learn so much in such a short period of time. So it just kind of what fits my eye in that regard is to do the right things, but do the right things in the proper order. Like, for example, man, a couple years ago, we rebranded. We got the nice logos now, but we didn't brand and spend money on a new brand when we didn't even know if people wanted our product, right? So I would give that counsel to people that are going out and doing their own thing if they have the ability to do that. And again, from a thank God we don't have money perspective, to me, that's different from an investment standpoint. If you kind of have some sort of proof of concept and you know what you're doing, and you're going to allow leverage to just be gasoline on a fire that's already burning, but you got to go create the fire.
A lot of nuggets there. And it actually reminds me a lot of how Gary Keller started Keller Williams. A main part of the book that he wrote called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent is leading with revenue. And early on in real estate or whatever you're doing, you have little to no revenue, right? Your first day you're open, you are officially in debt. You are in the red. And until you have revenue, if you spend money based on a percentage of income. And if you haven't made $1, then 90% of nothing is still nothing.
Yep.
And so 10% of our profit or gross revenue goes towards lead generation. 10% goes towards leverage and hiring help. So when I have zero revenue coming in, then 10% is nothing, and it's up to me. And he says the only thing you should be investing in is going to be new shoes, because you should be burning through your soles every 3 months because you're walking so much, knocking so many doors.
I love that, man. I didn't know that with such clarity. I've borrowed a lot from you in the Keller Williams story, in those percentages and the frameworks and the model for sure.
Which is, I guess today's about getting into business coaching. I've loved because it's the same principles that I've mastered in real estate apply to so many industries that we can just pivot it. We've talked about your org chart and hiring and who and when to hire. The other thing I love with you didn't have money, so no one gave you a loan because you weren't established enough for it. So Gary Keller took a loan when he started. He was 25 years old back in 1983, and he left his corporate real estate company and started off Keller Williams with his buddy Joe Williams. And Joe Williams did commercial and Gary Keller did residential, and they divided and conquered. They took out a loan for $40,000, and in the early 90s it was paid off. He's never taken a loan since. So we're privately held, zero debt, the only national franchise to say that, which is one of the reasons I love the company off of those principles. Funny, fast forward in the late 80s, some financial hardship hit. Joe Williams says, I'm selling my shares. So he still owns 5%. He's still a part of Keller Williams, but he says, here, Gary, you have 95%. So of Keller Williams, Joe Williams is a 5% minority shareholder.
Interesting.
Grow when the business tells you to was the other thing you said, that you've got to create the demand, build up the pipeline. I did a panel last week in my office, and someone said how they admired how quickly I hired Jen, because it was within my first year and I was able to just go it and I had the plan. And my response was, I didn't hire her, my business hired her. And there's metrics in my business that said it's time to hire. Because if I wait for me to have that emotional decision, now there's emotion to it, there's fear attached to it, there's anxiety attached to it. It's not my decision. I'm just an employee of the business. The business decided when to hire that next person.
I love that. There's a thought process that goes into my mind too, and I still deal with this today. As you would say, the business decides when you hire that person. I look at that with staff, right? When the person arises within our walls that there's enough demand and the right leader has shown up, then I got to work on replacing myself. If somebody else can come in and do the job I'm doing potentially better than I'm doing it, but even if they're doing the same job that I'm doing, then it's my responsibility to the business to kind of perpetuate that progression in leadership. So that's been a challenge too over the last 10 years. I feel like every time that I get comfortable with something I'm doing, we do something different. I replace myself and I move and I have to grow, and it's uncomfortable. So I'm still dealing with that, today.
I love it. And you mentioned something again of you've got to build a business large enough or with the vision to be large enough that people don't outgrow your organization. if you've got someone massively talented and they're looking to replace you, you don't say, sorry, you can't, this is my job. You go, well, shoot, you're better than me anyway. And you get out of the way and you go launch Melbourne, or where else you guys going? Vero Beach, I think?
Yeah, St. Pete.
Okay.
Is the plan, the goal, and then maybe we got some stuff in the works, so maybe a fourth market in before the year ends.
So it's safe to say Urban Young is hiring, looking for talented people.
Yeah.
Don't know where, don't know when, but if you feel like Taylor's someone that you would love to, be aligned with, then reach out to them. Let me see. I've got your banner here. That way we can. There you go. Reach out to Taylor over at Urban Young if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're looking for just someone smart that you want to learn from and get some leadership from, and if you want him to re-quote your insurance, look at your whole portfolio, take a look of what you got, good, bad, ugly. He's got a great team to help you out. Taylor, final couple seconds or minutes, anything you want to share with the viewers here as we wrap it up?
I'm juiced by the conversation, man. So, I appreciate it. What you just said about creating an organization where people don't outgrow it, that's the pressure that we feel collectively as a partnership every single day to show up and create that vehicle. And that's part of the fun. So any business owners that are out there that are just getting started or in the messy middle or starting to arrive somewhere that is what they would deem as a success, I would just, constantly have those conversations with yourself of what's the long-term vision, get very, very clear on that, and then chunk it down almost to a daily and weekly process that can allow you to just get super objective and stay in this game, because it's not an easy one, but it's a fulfilling one. So hopefully that encourages somebody out there. And thanks for the kind words, man. Although mostly undeserving, I will accept those compliments with full regard.
Well, you're humble as well. Good stuff. No, thanks for being on, and thanks for continuing to be a great support. And when I give someone your number, I have full confidence that you're going to make me look good in the process. So right on. This was Taylor Young, and he helped contribute to this Yeti cooler behind us. There we go. And I love choosing the Yeti because when I walk by the Yeti, that's something that I would say, my gosh, that's a nice cooler, and my gosh, I would never pay for that. So I think it's the perfect raffle giveaway because someone's like, yeah, I want that, but it doesn't make any sense to pay $300 or $400 for a cooler. So just win it by giving a call right now to the number scrolling the bottom, or give a call to Urban Young and let them hook you up with a job opportunity, leadership opportunity, or some insurance quotes. Now we're going to bring on our next third segment. Heather, do me a favor. Are you on a Taylor? Thanks, brother. I'll remove you here. We'll check you out. Are you on a laptop camera or is it a detached camera?
It is a detached camera.
Tilt it so your eyeballs are even with mine. There you go. Perfect.
Hey.
So I like the eyeballs, the 1/3 line, eyeballs. Right? If we play tic-tac-toe, these are in the crosses right there.
Awesome. That's better?
That's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hello, Rick.
Hey, I'm gonna give you a private chat because I have a question for you here.
Sure.
Yep, you already told me. So the offer up. So we've got an offer up for the next 20 minutes with Miss Heather. It's for up to a $150 inspection for whoever calls. Oh, first, right?
Yes.
So the first person to call, you get up to $150, and that's the premier. So anywhere from $50 to $150 off for your home inspection if you're thinking about selling or thinking about buying. Give a call right now. Jen, will you mark off the next person to call and do like a happy dance? Can you give a dress rehearsal? What's your happy dance look like? Okay.
I love it.
That's going to be for the next caller. Then we're good to go. So Heather Hurry, you're with Pillar to Post, the Jeff Mackey team.
I am.
You've also been in healthcare sales for over 10 years. This is interesting. I didn't know about this, but we got Ryan with medical sales.
Yep.
You've got Taylor and I with healthcare administration degrees. You've got healthcare sales, and we all ended up in the real estate industry.
Go figure.
So the moral of that story is if we want to identify talent, let's go look in the medical field.
Right.
Because we can shift and pivot over here pretty quickly. Let's see. We have a comment on there. Pinky Hostetter Young. So I'm assuming, Pinky, I'm going to talk out of the comments. Are you and also Young of the Young and Younger? Actually, I think Pinky's your wife, if I recall correctly. So thanks for joining us, Pinky.
Yes.
Heather, let's talk about you. You are with Pillar to Post.
I am.
I've been working with you guys pretty much exclusively since I got back into sales a couple of years back as my go-to home inspection team. I had actually a call from another home inspection team just yesterday, and she's calling, and I was polite, and she said, "What are you looking for from a home inspector?" And there were really 4 things I said. I said, "I need you to be thorough. Number 1, I need you to do your job. Number 2, the FLIR, which we'll talk about that FLIR gun, because I think without that, you're really not getting, it's like going to the doctor saying my arm hurts, not getting an x-ray.
Yeah.
Right? You're not really getting that. And then the 2 that I think really differentiates you guys, at least from other people, is client education and taking the time to educate and bedside manner.
For sure.
Those, and she goes, "Well, great, we have those. Can we meet?" And I said, "No, I'm very happy with my plan A. Thanks so much."
Okay, thanks, Rick.
So you guys were good there. And if you guys, if you're in the industry and looking for a partnership, give this team a call. And Heather, I've got your banner up right now. Let me just plug it up there for us. There we go. And that's the main line. So if you want to learn more about their packages, what they can offer, whether you're doing a pre-list inspection, new home construction inspection, new contract of a resale home inspection, you've got it. Talk to me about your role at the Jeff Mackey team, and then the actual Jeff Mackey team with Pillar to Post.
Sure. So, hey, everybody out there, Heather Hurry, Pillar to Post, the Jeff Mackey team. Just a little bit about, I want to do an overview of Mr. Mackey first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about me. I think he's more exciting probably than I am. But so he's been around, inspections for over 30 years, you guys. Prior to doing this, we are, a franchise office. We're one of 36 offices in Central Florida. We are a top producing office, which is amazing. But even prior to doing this, he was in the big time world of Terminix. If anybody knows that name, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there do, he was in the WDO world before he was in the home inspections world.
Tell people what WDO means.
Yeah, so WDO, wood destroying organisms. Also, some people refer to it as the AKA termite inspection. So, specifically, we see that a lot as it relates to supporting VA and FHA loans. You guys might get those questions. Hey, do you guys do WDO, or do you need a WDO? And now you know what it is. So he brings that to the table, which is absolutely phenomenal because, there's a lot of inspectors out there where we'll do the inspection, but you'll have to go elsewhere for the WDO. So just that knowledge and that certification and licensure is huge. So, about Jeff in a nutshell, my goodness, he's a branded name everywhere you go. The man is loyal till the day is blue. He's straight up. It's black and white. There's no gray. And if he sees anything under than a 5 score, he's calling you, and he wants to know why.
True story.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is just so hands-on and very respected in the community. He's a Belle Isle resident. He's been here forever. He's going to say go Bama, and I'm going to say go Sooners. We conflict.
You're both in the wrong city for that. So get on board the Knights.
Hey,
go Knights.
But we're the same color.
Okay.
So, kind of works. But about me, so I'm a single mama. I got 2 grown boys. They're absolutely phenomenal. One is a nurse at Advent Health, and one is a dentist over at the Windermere community. So they're just phenomenal in healthcare, ironically enough. And 3 grandbabies, another one on the way. And just really enjoy taking care of my family, being around my boys and the grandbabies. If anybody clicks onto my Facebook page, you see authenticity and transparency. What you see is what you get. And my priorities. So I love it. I've been in and around real estate, construction, and home inspections for the last 10 years. Also commercial, which we don't talk about a lot, but, it's something that we offer. And it's just been a really great period of growth for me because I feel like I've learned so much over the last 5 years. And it's funny because I'm like, man, in 30s, I didn't think I had a brain, 40s, I might know a little bit more in the 50s. I don't know. You're getting there.
You're not in your 50s
right
now.
Stop. I am.
Forget about it. Crazy.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, you've got more energy than most people in the 20s, so good for you.
Thank you, sir.
There's another regiment there.
Right, right.
So you bragged a little bit of your history of Jeff's resume, and then also what he's been doing. So how long has Jeff been a franchisee of Pillar to Post?
Yes. So he's been a franchisee for, I think this is year 19.
Okay,
Very long time.
So we're pushing 20 years there.
Yep.
And last year, you got a pretty distinguished award within the organization. Talk to me about that.
We did. 2019, phenomenal year, absolutely phenomenal. And 2022, we hit the $1 million mark. So we're $1 million producer in the Central Florida area. And that's a big deal. If you relate that to number of inspections, it's probably close to about 1,600 or so inspections if you do a number. And, you know, just the percentages and looking at the stats, Rick, and I know that you do this in the metrics, it's such a blessing to be able to look at that and go, man, we're still servicing people at a high level at about 70 to 72% of a capture rate of everybody that calls in. So it's all about service. It's just all about service. And if you could name us a middle name, that would probably be it.
Well, I have a true testament to that. We had a closing back in May. We used you guys for home inspection, of course, and they did the Prestige and the Premier and the mold test and everything went out there. Well, fast forward, they're remodeling their bathroom and they found some moisture behind the walls. And he wasn't mad at us or you, but he's kind of going, should have this been found? I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. And what I love was I was able to send Jeff an email, blind copy this buyer, this former client, knowing that Jeff was going to take care of customer service. Immediately took it, looked at the home inspection, gave this guy a call, rectified it. And at the end of the day, it was found that, you're not going to go into the intricacies of it, but the FLIR is infrared and it picks up heat. When you have tile, it can't penetrate that. It bounces off of it. So if it was there, we don't know unless you actually took off the wall. They did point out that there is some moisture in the window. Not going to go into details. Moral of that story is Jeff got in the phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's massively important to me that my clients feel heard. It's kind of like we take a flight, right? We can't guarantee there's not going to be turbulence. We can't guarantee we're going to be on time, but we can guarantee you we're going to do it with a smile and give you service.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important to us all here professionally, but also personally. It's like I'm going to tag on to what Ryan said and what Taylor said. And really, it's all about doing the right thing all the time. My dad always used to say, if you do the right thing in the dark when no one's watching, or would you? And we stand behind that motto, is that you just have to be able to communicate. Some of the things that we do, and in the inspection world aren't the most eloquent. And sometimes aren't necessarily the most luxurious as it relates to reporting evidence. Right. But the issue is we got to do the job. But we just try to do it in a way that's very positive. Yeah. So
I've got a question. Oh, we have a caller. Is this a Yeti caller?
Yay.
Did someone just win a discounted home inspection?
Exciting.
I'm waiting for the happy dance, Jen. I'm waiting for the happy dance. She is so focused in the zone.
She's on the phone. You can see her mouth going.
She's currently on the phone. Yeah. That's how. There she is. There's a happy dance. All right. So we got it there.
Exciting. Perfect. Congratulations to whomever that was. Fantastic.
Whoever got that. So let me, who's that? Monica Koleva.
Oh, fantastic. Congrats, Monica.
All right. Thanks for doing that, Monica. And I don't know if she was watching it live, but if you are, Monica, give us like a thumbs up emoji in the comments there. With your great year you had in 2019, I think you were named a North American franchise of the entire company.
Yes.
How many franchises are there in North America?
Oh my goodness. So over 500?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so 36 just in Central Florida. So, but yeah, close
the top
to 6.
0.2% is number one out of 500, which is phenomenal. Is that a volume thing, or is that a satisfaction score? How is that graded?
I think it's generated actually from 3 different perspectives: satisfaction, percentages of retention, as well as revenue. So we met all those pieces of criteria. Yeah. Okay,
I love it. Yeah. So now talk to me, because you've got Pillar to Post, one of 36 Pillar to Post in Orlando. But then you've got other warrant or home inspection companies. So what do you think is your value proposition of why it's a no-brainer for clients to call up Pillar to Post, not only the franchise, but then now also the specific franchise, the Jeff Mackey team? So give your some self plugs here of what separates you guys.
Of course. I think first and foremost, it's response time and customer service.
Okay.
I mean, and it can start from in the field with the guys, or it can start in the office with a phone call to admin. It doesn't matter. The way that we respond is the same, which is immediate, and we're addressing it, and we're making sure that they're getting heard, right? So that's a huge. The second would be exactly what you just said, bedside manner. You said it earlier. As it relates to the inspections, just the experience alone, what we give them in the full experience builds trust, rapport, they're comfortable, the way that the information is presented. To go into a little bit more detail without getting super consumed in all of it, because I feel like there's so much good stuff to say about us, but from the branded vehicles pulling up and everything being uniformed to the uniforms themselves, blue shirt tucked in, khaki pants, COVID ready, face mask, booties. We put a placemat at the front door branded, so we make sure we're not bringing in dirt to their house. We bring in pop-up chairs so they can sit down. We bring in a cooler of water, and we talk to them.
Right.
Okay, this is key, guys. We actually talk to them.
That's the education. So, it's here's our findings. Here's the pictures of our findings. Now walk with me and let me show you these findings. Yeah. And if it's not these findings, have you ever seen how to clean out your air conditioning unit? Do you know where your main shutoff valve is? If you have a water, come here, let me show you this. So they're also educating of going, this is how you can maintain your house. And then that binder is just a great resource. Now, something I was thinking as we were talking here, Ryan says 40% of his clients are refinances. So not using a realtor, calling him direct. Taylor, same thing. He's got a whole lot of, people who use him month after month, year after year, versus you, pretty much you're only getting a home inspection if you're doing a real estate transaction. Would you agree?
Yes. On the commercial side, and every once in a while the home buyer or consumer side, it's a one-off, but in general you're
and maybe if there's a refi, then they need it to get an updated 4-point inspection, that sort of thing. So ultimately your customers are agents.
Yes.
And it's using us to be able to partnership and then resource in through us or through Taylor or through anybody else.
Yes.
So if someone's watching this right now, and I guess that wasn't a question, it's more of a statement that says it's a different industry because you are relying on the agents.
Yes.
I've got the numbers, and we're going to go into this a little bit the 2:00 hour because it's kind of our time off, a little bit of a game show. And if memory serves, and you didn't prep for this, so sorry if you're on the spot, I think you have 5% market share.
Yes. Yeah, we're right around. Yeah, we're right around 5%. It fluctuates a little bit between 4 to 6, but in average about 5. And as I mentioned to you before, Rick, because our target market are realtors at all levels, both new agents, top producers, and everything in between, is that we do track a lot of our metrics from Aura. So you just pick up a market pulse and you pull up Central Florida. Our target markets are Orange and Seminole, even though we can service other areas, and it'll pretty much tell you, it'll gauge you exactly kind of what's going on in the market. And then we curve that to our metric on what we've seen for inspections. Something we have noticed, and not to bring up anything kind of on the downslope, but this has been an interesting time, Rick, with it being such a seller market. It's also been an interesting time, though, as it relates to forbearance and people losing some of their homes or equity or whatever it may be based on prior issues with COVID. So we're seeing a little bit of a wiggle as it relates to wave of inspections or an influx of cash buyers that unfortunately aren't educated, that they probably need us. But, it's kind of interesting because we do track it probably the same way you do.
Well, and what's so impressive about that, 5% is 1 out of 20. There's 36 franchisees in Aura, let alone everyone else. There's probably over 100 home inspectors, if not more than that.
For sure. Yeah.
And you've got 5% market share, 1 out of 20. That means the other 99 people are sharing the other 19, which is massive. So if success leaves clues, it's leaving clues with the Pillar and Post Jeff Mackey team. So awesome there. We're going to go into a little bit of stats here. So if you want to stay on and we can talk some shop around the market, maybe I'll give away some gift cards if people want to play a quiz show game. We still have some viewers who are live here on Facebook and YouTube. But as we wrap up, I do want another endorsement because I've seen it. I've seen people get burnt from it. New construction.
Yes.
And I've seen consumers go into new construction without a realtor, and sometimes it's fine and sometimes it's not. And I've seen them do it without getting a third-party home inspection company, and sometimes it's fine, and almost always it's not. And it's not that it's egregiously, oh my gosh. Right. However, it's going, wow, I'm glad I knew that. So for me, there were two things. Number one, on the entire east side of my house, the hurricane straps weren't tied down. My roof could have been just flapping like a puppet, right?
Oh, yes.
Second, in that same wall, I had no insulation. So whoever is in charge of the east side of my house, they were hungry. They checked out and never came back. Done. And that got discovered through a third-party home inspection because the builder's going to do their inspection, the county's going to do their inspection, but they have their own agenda and they're in and out. Yes. And you can hire the Pillar to Post Jeff Mackey team to do it. You guys not only go there for, I think, 3 times, right?
Yeah, we do a pre-slab, a pre-drywall, actually 4, a post-drywall, and then your final walkthrough. Yep. Most people utilize us for that, final walkthrough just prior to. But, I've been really trying to help educate while we're out there on this one point, and I will bring it to your attention since you mentioned new home construction. Typically there's about a year or so that they offer in a home warranty area, right, where they can go back in and address any repairs, and basically it's at the builder's dime. Yep. Very smart move for you, for the buyers that are out there and listening that are interested in new home construction. Do a final walkthrough inspection before your year. Yeah. Find out what's going on, right? And then utilize that to your benefit to be able to report what's going on. Because a lot of things change in a year. Yeah. It really does.
So I just had a big aha because, again, business coach, so my mind's going there. Mm-hmm. And although your audience and your clients are realtors, not necessarily, because there is new construction happening at a massive, massive rate right now. We are so short on inventory. Yes. Builders can't build houses fast enough. So my aha was, you guys have data. You can find out through public records when somebody closed. And at the 9-month mark, or even at the 6-month mark, start sending them letters in the mail. And now they're going to hire you to do that 1-year home warranty home inspection. Yeah,
that's amazing that you said that. Jeff and I were just talking about, some different things as far as first quarter implementation. And, the interesting thing is with new home construction, oftentimes we'll get participation, lack of a better word. And then there's other times where we may get a bit of pushback, right? So with that being said, I still think it's well worth, again, both education to consumer, right? Yeah. Home buyer, and then education to realtor, because the more you know, the more you have power. And that's what it's all about. Knowledge is power. And we want to make sure that everybody gets it, and we give it for free. Why not take it? Right.
I wish I had the little clip queued up of the shooting star. The more you know, I would have put it right there.
There you go.
So I'm going to keep that in my queue. So next time I have that aha, the more you know.
I'm telling you. Hey,
thanks for jumping on. Final thoughts or words that you want to tell the audience now or forever on YouTube eternity about you, your organization, and your value.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having us. It's always a pleasure to be in company with people with integrity that continue to help their organizations grow. You're one of those, Rick, Jen as well. I see you back there in the background, and we know that your position is not limited. So I would just say, if you're looking for a fair and reasonable home inspection company, a company with integrity, that the response time is going to be impeccable. Our availability to get you on the schedule is 1 to 2 days. If you're working in a tight timeline and you want to insert a 5-day inspection in your contract, we can handle it. And outside of that, we're just so grateful. So grateful for our realtors, for the relationships and the ongoing recommendations. Because I would say that, I don't even know the percentage, but over probably 70% is based on referral-based system. Yeah. So thanks for everything.
I love that you just said that, because in this competitive market, we've got to do everything we can for our buyers to strengthen the offer. And one of those things we can do is waive or minimize the inspection period.
Yeah,
and
it's leverage.
And so one of the tactics I've heard, and we will be using it, is even book with you guys ahead of time, submit the offer, and say, by the way, our home inspection is scheduled for tomorrow. You accept tonight, we're ready in.
Yeah,
give us a 2-day home inspection.
Yeah, we're game on for that. You know, as you know, we've recently hired, and we are also continuing to look. It's just something that on an ongoing basis, we love to hire good talent, and especially people that have trades. But we're now 6 inspectors heavy, so you know, we're not a one-man show. We're out there with licensed inspectors, and we're ready.
6 inspectors doing 1,600. You do the math, because they're going to buzz through that house so fast. You're going to wonder, how do they do it all? And then sure enough, you're like, oh my gosh, you actually checked every doorknob and every nook and cranny of the house, because these guys are pros. And the training period's no joke either.
No.
I think with COVID it stopped, but they used to have to fly to Canada for 2 months.
Yes.
Who the heck decided Canada was a great place for the entire company to go
no. But they do fly them out. They get, you know, and then it's about a 6-month in the field.
And memorize this book, right? Memorize the phone book.
Yeah, I don't even want to go there. That's the reason I'm in marketing and not an inspector. But last point I do want to mention for those that don't know, and I know you alluded to it, but let me remind everybody, we print your report same day on site. There's no waiting. You get it right then and there. The next day you'll get it by PDF. We'll CC your realtor. We'll forward it to the buyer. As a reminder, you guys, right now there's no time to wait. So you need your report now.
And I love that, not only for efficiency. I love that because if there's questions, the consumer is not trying to figure it out 24 hours later while they're not in the house.
That's right.
I know we're on borrowed time, but we're also, we've got a time slot. You got a really cool new feature coming with the 3D tour. Is that allowed? Can I say that?
Well, it's a little bit of cat out of the bag. I won't go full into it, but I am super excited because we are looking at rolling it out fourth quarter. But for those of you that are watching this, just know that you're in the know. And
my bad.
That's okay. But it's exciting. I mean, I'm even like, Jeff's like, don't, say too much. But listen, we are going to be including P2P 360. We are going to have a video to accompany the inspection, and we are going to add the floor plan. So it's not just the 360, it's the floor plan too. That's going to be absolutely amazing, especially on the listing side, or even on the buyer side, you guys, because now you have the layout of the house. You can actually, for us girls in the house, you can start decorating before you.
Hey, we've got man caves to decorate too.
Well, okay, whatever. You guys can decorate too. But I just thought, my goodness, we get a floor plan. Oh. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, that's great for, again, when you go to Lazy Boy, pick out furniture, you can just give it to them. Measurements are done.
Boom.
Taken care of. Hey, so for everyone out there right now, we still have some viewers. Thanks for joining on. This is the Meet the Pros segment. We just finished up with Heather. Heather, you can stay on here because our next guest comes at 2:30, so we'll just chat. This is the Meet the Pros section. We've got 6 of our favorite professionals who we consistently endorse, use personally, and also refer when possible. I am in no way in affiliation of partnership with them, just a raving fan. So by all means, do your own due diligence, but you can take my word for it. This is a great team, and here's part of it. So we've all collected together our efforts and our money and bought you a Yeti cooler. Jen, how are we doing so far? I can't really hear you a whole lot. It's noise canceled. Okay. Good. So great reminder, you can call in for every time there's a new guest on, you can call in again. So you can do up to 6 times if you want to spend the whole afternoon with us. I get some of you have to work. Just keep us on in the background and we're good to go there.
Exactly. It's lots of great info, though. My goodness, this is jam-packed full of nuggets.
Yeah, I'm loving it as well, and we'll be able to then section this off. We've got a website that'll be going live here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, that we'll be wrapping up. Let's see. Yep, 210 to 240 game. Oh, sweet. So we did have you through 210. Here, I thought I was running a little bit late, and we are right on time.
Yay!
And now we're finished at 210. So the viewers out there, I see 7 of you on that are live right now. If you want to play a game show and win some gift cards, I feel like I'm going to give away some money here. So if you want to play, give me something in the comments that say I'm in, that says let me win some money, gift cards. Can I give away money? I think I give away gift cards. So I'm going to wait, and then whoever responds, we'll see if we can do some quiz show based on the current market using the market stats from last month. So come on, people. We're waiting for you. Heather, you said you're in. You're going to win some money. I feel like it's insider trading. We can't do that.
I know. I just tried. I didn't
That's
want
right.
to cheat. I just figured, hey, I'd put it out there.
As people are or aren't commenting back, I'm going to download the market pulse because you mentioned that.
Yes.
And I didn't get a chance to do the market pulse last month with the state of the market. Yet the market that we're in, I've never seen before. In the 10 years of selling real estate. We have a listing going live tomorrow. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath pool house on Conservation, a little creek in Winter Springs. And I'm holding an open house Friday and Saturday, and I'm expecting this thing to be flying off the market.
I'm sure it will.
So when we look at this market right now, Heather, I guess there's a lot of rhetorical question, but we've alluded to a shift coming for many years because every 6 to 7 years, the real estate market is supposed to be a pendulum and it's supposed to shift. And so we've had a growing market every year since 2010. So we're on now year number 11. We should have shifted 4 years ago with historical pendulum swings, and yet last year we grew by, there's the first question, median house price year over year from January 21, from January 2020, put in the chat box. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Put in the chat box if you guys want to guess what a median price point in Central Florida has been. I'm counting on some of the viewers out here. I see a fluctuation of 6 to 10 people in and out. So let me put it in the chat box. Maybe that'll help. This participatory. I'm supposed to fill 30 minutes of a quiz game show, people. So you got to work with me here. Jen told me to be prepared. I was like, no, people interact. It's fine.
I know someone will say
it. Jen said she'll write it in.
I was waiting. I didn't want to do it.
Time's up. No one wins. I get to go buy myself a $10 gift card at Chick-fil-A now.
Is that it? Is it close? I don't know.
So you put the price. I was looking for growth. Year over year, the value of a home is what % higher or lower than the same time last year?
What % higher or lower? I had to remember what was on Market Pulse.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm getting it from.
Here, I want to give you a guess.
Let's see what you got.
Oh no.
What % growth?
This is probably off.
Just type it in for me. 4%. Good guess. That is the historical average over time. 12% was year over year.
That's so good. I almost was like 10 because somehow that was in my mind, but I wasn't. I was trying to be all conservative. So, wow, 12%.
12% year over year. When I hear 12%, my mind immediately goes to 1% every month.
Oh yeah, good equation.
And so when I've got some buyers who are on the verge of buying, and it's a $300,000 price point, that's $3,000 every month. It's costing them by waiting.
Yes, that makes sense.
That's $1,000 every 10 days. It's costing them by waiting. That's $100 a day that they procrastinate and don't get their application in or don't do something. Yep. So I hear this, and this is exactly what's happening and it doesn't seem to be slowing down because everything is driven off of inventory.
Inventory, yeah.
So I'm frozen again. At least it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold
but
on.
Your picture's there. Now they get to see me in my office that's newly painted, all white. So if you guys have not taken advantage of calling the number below, 407-815-2020, you should do it now because there's a brand new Yeti cooler sitting behind Rick when he comes back.
I'm back here.
Jen.
I want to let you go. Yes. You're doing great. So I'll let you roll with it.
So, hey, You better call to win. That's all I got to say. And listen, it's better than our cooler. I'm just saying. Our cooler's like.
Yeah, it's a nice cooler. It thing's heavy too. I was like,
I
bet. What we were saying before my camera hijacked me.
Yeah.
Is supply and demand is driving this price increase.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at 12% year over year, that's with a declining inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind that was also when the peak of real estate springtime was completely put on hold with COVID and the unknowns of that. I mean, it literally stopped on a dime for about 60 days, then peaked back up. So where do you think we're at in terms of inventory, Heather? If we used to have 10 homes, how many do we have for sale now? Same time last year.
Same time last year, and we had an increase, right? So a decrease?
Less homes for sale than the same time
Okay,
last
so
year.
our inventory is less. I know that by stats through Market Pulse, we have like a 2-month supply of inventory, which means that we probably have 5 homes versus 10. Something around there.
Yeah, so you had mentioned saturation of our total inventory compared to the number of contracts every month. And so you said it's about 2 months. So it says if there's 5,000 homes for sale, then we're selling 2,500 a month.
Yes.
The crazy thing is, and I'm looking right here in the stats. Let me try to pull it up here. Hold on.
Very interesting.
It's 40% less inventory.
40% less. So you're talking, 6 instead of 10, or
used to be 10 homes to choose from. Now we have 6 homes to choose from.
And I mean, you can concur or support or not. From what I'm understanding, and this is what we're hearing from our clients, and of course, I am a little dangerous as it relates to the real estate world, but there's about 15 to 20 buyers per home. And our turnaround or days on the market is under 5. So at least, in the Central Florida area, that's what we're hearing. And that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's going fast.
Yeah.
It's not many choices. Ryan, I see you down there. So if you want to pop in, you can just play in our discussion. Let's just bring you in. There you go. That way any insight.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey.
Hi.
But we're looking at this and we can see the stats. And this is January's because I don't know why I downloaded this one, but we'll just roll with it. So December, you can see the total inventory is 4,800. When we look at December 2019, it was 7,000.
Wow.
Look at that.
Right? What's that, Ryan?
And it was tight then. It wasn't a lot.
Yes.
It was tight then. And then we look at new contracts, 2,500. So it's actually less than 2 months.
Yep, less than 2 months. You're right.
2,500 goes in less than 2 months. Versus up here, 21.
21.
So we sold more.
Yep.
With less.
So 21 into 7, that's approaching over 3.
Over 3.
3.5 months. Then we go to 31, 36. March, COVID hit, right?
Yep.
This is when I said for 60 days we took a stop. Because this is when it should have kept ramping up, and it didn't. Inventory shot up to 76. And then watch what happens to inventory. Everyone says, okay, COVID's fine. I'm back. 3 months in a row selling close to 4,000. and this just goes down 76, 72, 65, 62, 59.
Yep.
Look at this big surge, October to November, 55. We lost 300, and then we lost 700 this month.
Wow. And also, if you look on the far right metric, our days on market on average probably went down between 7 and 10 days too, meaning, from 55 or 57, I don't know, you look at the number, down to 45.
Yep.
And this gets really skewed if you do different price points.
Yeah. Really interesting.
I wonder what under 350 would look like.
Well, not slightly under 350, but our median, what's our median number?
285.
285.
285.
So we're not far off from there.
Anything under 300 is flying off the market. So why is that? Why is that market the one that's getting?
I think because that's where our budgetary people are coming from. That's their income brackets. That's their qualifier. I don't know, Ryan. You tell me.
I think people that have been renting, the rent keeps going up.
Yep.
And they're finding that at that price point, it's pretty similar to the rent.
That's true.
And with the program, they can get in for $5,000. If they can get in for under 10 grand or under, let's call it 15 grand, and they are paying the same or less, why not?
I totally, we hear that too internally. The caveat, or maybe a little bit of a challenge to that, and just as a topic of conversation, is that either they have the cash or they don't, though. And then they're talking about particular outside resources, right? 401k or other things. But it seems like they're still able to make it happen. But that's always interesting too, because they want to make the shift, but are they educated to know what they need to make the shift? Meaning from rental to ownership.
And you know what it could be? You said the 401k, that kind of hit a nerve. One of Rick's terms.
Sorry.
In the sense that people may not have known that they could borrow against their 401k to buy a house, but they hear, COVID's happening now. Because of COVID, you can dig into it, and that maybe makes them think, well, I didn't know that, and they learn about it that way. Because I have people say, I'm going to go dig into my 401k because there's no penalty on it right now.
Right.
Could be dangerous.
Yeah. And again, that goes back to Ryan's mind's conversation of going, if you have to do it, let's do it, but don't make it a first stop. Make it one of your last stops.
Right.
Digging into the 401k to buy a home and make wealth that way. As Rick says, that's a big wealth builder, right?
Yes. I'm looking for my college education. I'm very happy to say it's 3 houses named after each kid. And there's your college tuition.
There you go.
If I can do a 15-year note and it's paid off by the time they're in college, and my tenants can then pay their college education, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Even if the market doesn't grow at all, let's take appreciation out of it. Yet I do a 15-year note, and it's cash flowing or at least breaking even. Either A, someone else is paying it through debt reduction, or even if I'm losing $200 a month, I'm only paying 10 cents the dollar for college education.
Yeah. That's why it's so important to have people like Ryan in your life, honestly. And you, Rick, because seriously, and I think that there's a lot, just like home inspections, you guys, and just like anything else, I think that there's logical, realistic truth. And then I think that there's other things that may not be completely accurate. And it's just good to know that you have a partner that stays abreast of what's going on and it's going to give you the 100%, right? Yes, no, or indifferent.
Yeah, so, Ryan will vouch for this, that I've sometimes told people not to move. Like, you've got a great situation.
More times than I would
right?
ever.
Yeah. Don't sell your house. You're in a great equity position. You can afford to buy without selling. You should keep it, put a landlord in there, and build some wealth. It does not do great for the inventory crisis we have. Yet it is strong when someone can refinance, lock in the rate at 2.5% or 3%. Going, why do you get rid of it? You shouldn't, because the rental market's going bananas. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all about consultation. At the end of the day, like we had mentioned before, we want to do the right thing by the customer. It's just and it's just the right thing to do. If there's another opportunity to create something good for them, then you present it. We do the same thing in our office. People will call in and think they need A, B, C, D, and E, or they'll call in and don't even realize that they need A, B, C, and D. So it's just a constant communication of hey, we're trying to protect you. Yep. And some people get a little skeptical of that. I don't know why, but we're trying to do the right thing. Trust me. Yep. But nonetheless, yeah.
I got a realtor, Rick, that dug into he found some people in California who couldn't afford to buy houses there. I'm doing my third one right now. They're buying these houses out in Lake County for $155,000. So they're doing it as a second home, even though they use their lease as their primary, and they buy that as a second home. They're out of pocket under $25,000. Their mortgage is $800 to $850 a month, and they're getting $1,450 a month. Brand new house, so nothing not paying for anything. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a slam dunk.
No-brainer. That's what I just said.
We're making big bucks.
And that's
one of the. Right? We're not on right now, right?
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah. No, we're live. I'd mute you if you started going a little bit rogue. No, we are live. This is the kind of just pause and chat about market. So bring it in, bring it out, and then we're going to have Donna join us here in about 15 minutes. You had mentioned what about the lower market is hitting? Number one, you guys hit on the head with first-time home buyers, entry-level home buyers with, cheaper to buy than it is to rent. And number two is the second thing you just said, which is people who want to invest. Going, I can get into investment for under $25,000, own a home, and on the opposite side, not getting out of the rental market, but getting into the landlord market.
Yes.
And so you've got two different entities or customers going after that market. Last time I did the numbers, about 6 months, the luxury market, which is 750 and above, had 8 or 9 months of inventory. And so very much when you're talking to your customers, when we go out there, we'll do a specific market analysis for your house, for your neighborhood, for your price point to say, this is what your market's doing, because you can't look at the whole market. We talked a little bit about the months of inventory. Check this out. This blue chart right here. And look what happened right after COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
June.
March, April, May. We kind of knew what it was. It's still very much here. I got swabbed today. Someone poked me in the brain getting a COVID test because I've got a nasal congestion, if you guys can hear it. And I've got family coming in town. I was like, I want to be safe. I am negative, but not before they stabbed my brain. But it's just it's just a way of life now. It's like a flu shot and it's a COVID, and we've learned to coexist with it. And people said, whoa, time out. What's happening? Okay, we know what it is. Game on.
Yeah.
And if you look at the trend lines, it's not far off from the trend lines, right? But then all of a sudden, where's the drop? And that blue is closed sales. And so closed sales went up, inventory goes down. There's your month of inventory, which is now below a month and a half.
Yep.
Which is nuts.
Yeah. And I think 60 days ago or somewhere around in there. Anyway, we were just slightly over, maybe it was January, it could have been December, just slightly over 2 months. So we've already dropped, almost 30 days of inventory in just a very short period of time. You hit on something though, Rick, and I wanted to mention it or just get Ryan's input too, but you had talked about cash investments and cash buyers and investors and, utilizing purchasing properties, maybe on it depends on their price point, right? And then utilizing them as a revenue stream. We're actually hearing a lot more about that too. That kind of strikes a chord with me though, because those cash buyers that come in or others that come in, oftentimes feel like they can just waive a lot of the process, meaning inspection being one. So it's very interesting how every single point of us three on the screen affects one another. So we're actually doing metrics to see what we can do to capture cash investors and do education on the other side of the importance of inspection, because what's happening is they're going in doing renovation. It doesn't even need to be done, or they're doing renovation on the, vice versa. And they have no idea what the true condition, right, of the home is. So there's so much in that just struck a chord with me too, because I'm like, they need to be doing an inspection. But anyway,
well, I want to pull up a house. I want to ask you a question on this because this is a serious question I had.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm pulling up the MLS.
Hi,
Donna, how are you?
Hey.
Hey,
we're just chatting about the market for the next 10 minutes until you and I go profile. So everyone, next is Donna Fior with 210 home warranty. All right, so here's the MLS. We've got an investor who put an offer in a house. I want to share with you guys what this house is. We don't know if it's been accepted or not because, like always, there's multiple offers. I'm going to remove this real quick because I got some private information showing up here. There we go. There we go.
Is your buyer a cash buyer or finance buyer?
He's doing private funding because this house likely would not be able to be getting a loan through Ryan, right?
All right.
So we see it. Everyone, it's not that big, but it's kind of big.
We see it.
Let me do this. That might be better.
That's better.
All right. So as I'm thinking what a home inspector could do, my thoughts are kind of like they're going to go in there and they're going to tell you this house is wrecked. They're going to say so many things wrong with it. You've got a giant hole in the ceiling. You most likely have mold. Things are not sealed. And so my thought is, this is not the traditional pillar to post, let's have a 1 to 2 page summary home inspection.
Yes.
Do you guys do rehab home inspections like this of going in there going, here's your gut cost? Or what is that look like?
I love that question because once again, your timing is impeccable, Rick. I just sat down with Mr. Mackey yesterday, and we are coming up with what we would call kind of like a robust 4-point. And it's interesting because we got Donna that just hopped on too, so I'm sure she might be able to elaborate. But you just look at the major components, right, which are the most important, and then we just kind of wrap around some other things, and we keep it at a lower cost where we may have a basic plus at around $300 or $350. We're coming in at like $250, and we're just looking at the guts. But the thing is, with something like this is you also have to. At least my thought process would be, and this may be dangerous, but because every once in a while I think, but would be, what's your purpose after the fact? Is this an investment, that you're looking to rehab and resell? Because in that fact, an inspection may be a good idea. And then on the other, is it not? Is this going to be a private residence, primary residence, whatever the case may be? So I think that there's a couple different leveraging tools there, but we are looking at downgrading, doing a kind of robust 4-point, and then bringing it in on that side. Also, we also probably will call it a pre-listing inspection, a newer one.
Yeah, no, I like that because I would be hard pressed to recommend getting a full FLIR inspection like I always do. With this, I'm going to go in there and going, let's pull up permits. Let's look at the date and the serial number. And let's decide you're going to rip out the kitchen. Great. There's a new kitchen. Here's the floors per square foot floors. But if you guys go in there with a flipper's inspection or investor's inspection, and almost be the seasoned trained eyes on the house of the investor, then that's going to at least give a punch list of going, because this house, I'm pointing over here, it's where it's at, has window AC, right? So we're going to go central AC. So it helps with what that entails. Which walls are load-bearing walls. A lot of your home inspectors have construction experience. They can share with it what's load-bearing. Can I move this wall? I want to put gas here. What does that entail? That sort of thing.
Tell you something you guys are going to love. And again, I'm not going to say it all, but come toward the end of the year, I think we're going to be adding in something else that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's called Punch List. We won't get all into it. There's going to be some corresponding things that are going to accompany that as it relates to cost of repairs, but it's going to be powerful. But those are all going to be helpful tools. It's definitely going to be powerful for those investors or flippers or whomever they are to be able to utilize that. Listing agents too. So.
Yeah, I love it. Good stuff. All right, so Donna, I'm going to type you a private chat. That way you don't have to do the answer there. So Donna, you guys talk amongst yourselves right now.
How are you?
Rick, I've got to head out to a meeting. I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay.
Nice to see you, Ryan.
See you, Ryan.
See you guys.
It's good to see you, Donna.
Hey,
And
Heather.
I'm loving your beautiful blue eyes as usual. And are you coming from home out in Polk County, or are you coming from
in God's country here in Polk County?
Amen. All right.
What just happened there with your accent? What was that?
I don't know. I'm from Oklahoma. You guys haven't heard the worst of it yet.
That's right, the Sooners there. So Donna's
right.
really my message there. Sweet. So share with us what that is then, Donna, since the answer is yes. For the next 25 minutes, anybody who calls in can have a chance to get something. What can they get?
Well, they can get a $50 gift card, and they can apply that $50 gift card, hopefully, for an additional buyer option if they purchase a warranty. So, or they can take their spouse or whoever themselves out to dinner. They want.
So nice.
They can apply it however they choose.
Then I'm going to add that to this. Call us now for a chance to win. Now, is it the first caller or anybody who calls? Then we do a new drawing just for them.
It's your show. How do you want to roll?
Let's let anybody who calls between now and 3 o'clock for a chance to win the Yeti behind us. Call now at 407 and $50 before 3 o'clock. Now we've got that. Save it and scroll it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Here we go.
Sweet. Thanks for that. So someone just called in. You struck a nerve, or they were just lucky with their timing.
Hey, either way, they're going to get to hear all about 210 home buyer's warranty, right? Yeah,
no, absolutely. And do you want me to pull up a site as we talk about what you've got going on?
It's really not necessary to pull up the site. I'm one of those, I'd like to kind of do this interaction, let everybody listen, and then I'll drive the traffic to the landing page afterwards. Because if they're like me, they start Googling and searching and digging, and you forget what everybody's talking about.
Yep. Well, I wasn't sure if there's any reference there, and we're going to wrap up here just talking about the market from different industry perspectives. I geek out a lot, Donna. I know you and I haven't had a whole lot of business conversations. We've had some, but I love the numbers. I love analyzing the numbers. Do you have data from 210 that talks about what the market is doing? Because I know 210 is a national company. You're partners with Keller Williams International, so you have national stats, and I imagine regional and local. What is some insight that you guys are seeing on the warranty side?
Well, as you guys know, it's shifting. I mean, just in the last 2 months, it's kind of gotten a little different. But as far as Keller Williams International and 210 home buyer's warranty, at the end of 2020, we had paid over $6 million in claims. So yeah, I'm kind of a spreadsheet geek. So the Keller Williams clients have been protected and provided and saved them $6 million, and that's wholesale. So if you put a retail number on that, it's going to, add another 2% onto that. So we saved those Keller Williams clients quite a bit of money. Regionally, I'm in an emerging market. Believe it or not, Orlando and 210 home buyer's warranty is an emerging market. So those numbers are growing, but they need to grow a lot more, just to be transparent. A lot of people don't know about 210 home buyer's warranty, and that's why I'm here, to make sure they see the difference and know the difference. And it all starts in our name. So I can get going on a conversation here, Rick. So I'll let you ask questions and I'll go from there. But
well, I'll say goodbye to Heather real quick. Heather, it's been fun chatting with you, and if you want to hang out, I'll bring you on for some cameos again. Definitely love to have you on at 4 o'clock for our drawing there, but we'll say goodbye to you, and we'll just do some the Don. Is that cool? Yeah, I almost feel like God complex here for these 2 and 3 hours.
It's like, next.
Watch this. Ready? There you go. See,
yeah, that's
perfect.
Nice. That's pretty impressive, Rick.
Yes. So if you're listening now, thanks for sticking with us. We are on the Pro number 4 of our Meet the Pros show from 1 to 4 o'clock today. We are partnering and interviewing and endorsing 6 of our favorite endorsed local providers. They touch every aspect of the real estate, not even industry, because someone can get a home warranty now It doesn't mean they just moved into their house or ready to sell the house. So, so you're really talking to every homeowner out there about the value of a home warranty. At the end of the day, if I go to Best Buy and buy a computer, they ask for a warranty. If I go to buy a car, I get a certain bumper-to-bumper warranty, and then I get a powertrain warranty. If I buy new construction, I have 1 year everything warranty, and electrical 3 years. Appliances give us warranties are a way of life. Warranties are around us everywhere. Sometimes they're included, sometimes we pay for extension. And so now we're talking about home buyer warranty. I don't know if you know these numbers, so I'm strictly going to talk to you from curiosity. What percentage of homeowners currently have a home warranty on their home? Is that a number you guys have? Like, what's your market opportunity?
It's going to vary, but less than 40%.
Okay.
And typically, there's different buckets, if you will. There's the new construction bucket, there's the resale bucket, and then there's our direct-to-consumer bucket. So, there's different ways to look at it.
Okay, so I'm gonna unpack a little bit. Excuse me, real quick. All right, I'm gonna unpack that less than 40%, which is actually higher than I would have guessed. And so, let's say that's a third, right? 33% is less than 40%. So 1 out of 3 people currently have a home warranty. 2 out of 3 people don't. And if something breaks in their house, they're writing the check for it. Of that third, who's the bulk of that? Is it landlords who want to have a warranty against their rental? Is it people who own their house in the first 12 to 24 months? Who's the bulk of your customers if you were to go out and target market?
The bulk of the customers are typically first-time home buyers, people that aren't sure, what to expect with a home, and they're kind of nervous and they want to make sure that they've got protection. But it's in the resale, primarily new home buyer. And then when you get into a different demographic, single women, single men for that matter, but typically single women that are worried about repairs that they're not able to make on their own, and they don't want to be taken advantage of by a contractor that they may call on their own.
Yeah. So
they rely on us as a partner to vet those contractors and work alongside them.
So it's that peace of mind.
Absolutely.
And you and I have had a conversation of kind of my mindset around it. And I think it's enlightening to share from, I'm one of the guys that I can do it myself, and it will be 80% of quality. I've learned to stop doing it myself because it costs me more money to pay someone to undo what I've done than do it correctly. Yet I like to have that at least gumption to do so.
Sure.
I'm also a huge advocate of Dave Ramsey, and it reminded me, this is what I shared with you before, of Dave Ramsey says for different health insurance or short-term insurance, at a certain point, you can be self-insured. That if I'm paying a home warranty company, what's an average package that I might pay? Give or take $500 a year?
Oh yeah, you'd max out at $630 to have all of your systems, appliance, electrical, and plumbing covered.
Okay.
So
yeah. Bumper to bumper $630. If I want less than that, so in my head, it's a trade-off that says if I'm paying you $500 a year, and I'm hedging the bet that I'm going to get more than that back in terms of what you're going to save me with repair.
Right.
And that's something that hindsight I should have done. I bought my house in 2019. My AC was a 2012, but it was a very tired, obese, out of weight AC. It was an old AC, and within 3 months I could have fixed it, but this thing was just, I called him Hank. He was just sweating in my garage. I was like, let's just put Hank out to pasture. Let's get a new AC. So me being the proud DIY chose not to get a $500 or $600 policy. Instead, I replaced Hank for nearly $8,000.
Right. Yeah, and you didn't get that volume pricing that we have because we are nationwide. Since we're talking stats, I pulled you probably saw me lean over. I pulled a handy dandy worksheet here. But
wait, fire away.
76% of all Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So imagine that percentage of having to come out of pocket for that HVAC.
Yeah.
68% chance of a home system or appliance failing within a year. So I don't know about you. I mean, if you're betting on, the Buckeyes or the Buccaneers or whoever, if there was a 68% chance that they were going to fail, you probably wouldn't put a lot of money in that. So to have someone to back that up and ensure your bet and purchasing that home is a huge thing.
Yet Vegas continues to grow. People keep putting money in Vegas, right? I'm just kidding.
That's a whole nother conversation and a 12-step program we can't insure, but
no, I love it. Keep going.
1.4 claims a year. A homeowner's going to place 1.4 claims a year. So if one of those claims is an average of, let's just talk, I'll use a real life experience I had. The stove in your kitchen, there's usually 4 burners, sometimes 6 or so, but one of those typically is around $300 to $350 to replace it. Who knew, right?
Yeah.
So right there, you're already in the bucket, earning the value of that warranty. And then the deal is we're on the hook. So if that contractor doesn't get it right, or they continue to have to do whatever they're doing, let's just say they can't get it together, we come to your aid and jump in and mitigate all of that craziness. Whereas if you didn't have a home warranty partner, you're dealing with it all on your own. So imagine trying to do your job every day or pick the kids up from school or whatever. You've got a partner, an advocate. I've got 3 claims right now with an advocate working on behind the scenes with agents just like yourself to help homeowners. And that's what we're here for, to partner and to walk alongside, just like those home inspectors and lenders, and we're part of the team.
Well, and that's where it really is an option. And at the end of it, you need to sell me some home warranty, because I'm thinking now that I just paid a plumber to go out and fix the leaky sink in my investment property. I'm going, well, that cost me a couple $100. That's part of my 1.4 claims.
Yeah.
So the option is there. So the homeowners out there who are listening, who don't have it, talk to me about, you mentioned packages up to $630. Give us an example of what you guys do, what you protect, and what is that hedged bet, that insurance, that warranty that gives peace of mind. What are they shopping for?
Well, I mean, I'm always pretty frank with things. There's only so many contractors out there, and there's only so many home warranty companies that they'll work with home warranty companies. So we're kind of pulling from the same place. The difference is us, our team. What we do different is the biggest thing, and not to beat your HVAC claim up, old Hank here, but we SEER match, and we're the only company that does that. And for those that don't understand what that means, it's energy efficiently rate and match both systems, so the inside unit and the outside unit. So if that inside unit fails and you have a client that puts in a 14 SEER and then the outside unit is a 16 SEER, you're basically putting, an engine against another engine that's pulling against each other.
Sure.
We replace both systems. We don't use refurbished and rebuilt parts. Other of our competitors do. So those are some of the biggest things that we do that I'm really proud of, because how many times have you heard someone say, well, we fixed our inside unit, now the outside unit's failing? 90% of the time it's because they did not energy efficiently rate and match those units. So that's huge. Yep. And to your plumbing claim, let's just say the plumber comes out, you've paid him his service call to repair and do whatever, and hopefully it fixes it, but let's just say it doesn't. What we have is an even if service fee guarantee. If we send someone out to make a repair, and if it can't be repaired under the warranty, if it's not eligible, because it is not the golden ticket. There are some things that are not eligible for coverage. We will refund that $100 service call fee. We're the only company that does that. The other thing we do is if we have a repair made and then the same system and the same reason fails within that year, not just a period of time, 30 days or whatever, but the entire year, we will refund that service call again as well. So
you just have a warranty upon the warranty when they come back out. So it's a warranty upon a warranty, right? They come out, it's $100 service charge. They fix it, whether it costs them $105 or $8,000. You walk away, and they're guaranteeing it's going to stay fixed for at least a year. Otherwise, you get refunded that $100.
Right.
And this is truly me out of ignorance, but I figure if I've got the question, and so do some of the consumers listening to this right now. So my plumbing issue was a busted pipe underneath the sink, which then caused damage in the cabinets. So then we had to replace the bottom layer of the cabinet. So now I've got that added expense. Do you guys cover the damage it does as well? I know that would be insurance if it was massive, but something small. No. Okay, so you just repair the actual failing mechanism.
We look at the source of the failure. If the source of the failure is, obviously something that, God forbid, the oven, sparks and fails because of something that was a component that was wrong, we'll remedy the component, replace the oven, do whatever. But if it catches the thing on fire,
you're not going to buy a new house.
Yeah, that's your homeowner's insurance. But we work in tandem with that. Sure. So it's a dual. If anything, it's going to mitigate some of your out-of-pocket expenses. That's the goal of a home warranty.
So I am a calculated gambler, we'll say, right? So I'm talking to the homeowners out there right now that have certain components that are over the hill. Because if they're over the hill, like Hank was, then they're more likely to be failing out and or have little mishaps and hiccups. So let's educate the consumers right now. What do you cover? Is it the plumbing, the electrical, the AC, the heat, and the appliances? That's pretty much the 5 components?
Yes. In our service agreement, it specifically is heating, cooling, appliances, electrical, plumbing.
I've always heard, and I use the acronym, and you actually did it backwards, PEACH, right? Have you seen that acronym? Where's my face?
No. What does the C stand for?
Well, you said heating, cooling, appliances, electrical, and plumbing.
Yeah.
And if you go reverse, it's PEACH: plumbing, electrical, appliances, cooling, and heating.
Rick, every time we hang out, I learn something every day.
So
it's just the coolest thing ever.
It will cover the PEACH.
I'm taking that, and I'm not going to pay a commission to take it either.
Nope, just a little bit of when you see me, give me a thumbs up, like that was from you, little PEACH. Well, I heard that, and that stuck with me, and I heard it years ago, and I'm going, now I never forget.
How am I in this industry and I've never heard that?
The PEACH.
That's so cool.
So plumbing, the 4-letter word in plumbing is poly, right? Polybutylene.
Polybutylene. Yes.
Poly is the 4-letter curse word when it comes to plumbing.
Well, we do have coverage for that.
Also, copper pipes have about a 50-year lifespan. So I was showing a house the other day. It was a 1971 house. 1971 was 50 years ago. So when we see original copper pipes, we're going, these things are on borrowed time. It's a matter, they're fine. They'll be insured. Insurance companies don't hate copper like they hate polybutylene.
Right.
But 50-year-old copper pipes are going to be something there. So essentially, I've got insurance with Urban Young. I've got home warranty with 210. And if and when one of my polybutylene pipes bust or my copper pipes bust or just freak accident plumbing happens, like a leaky faucet in the kitchen, I call you up and you fix the source. It costs me $100 copay. It's already been done, and you will guarantee it's fixed. And if it's not, then you will come out and fix it for free again without a copay.
Right.
And then if I have extensive damage, then I've got my insurance claim with my deductible and copay there, right?
Correct.
So consumers, if you have pipes that are aging, if you have polybutylene and for whatever reason you're able to get a pass from your insurance company, don't tell them. If you've got copper pipes and your house is built in the 1970s, keep in mind those are getting of aged. And in general, you can have some nice PEX pipes that just fail. Do you have a story, kind of one of those freaky, crazy claims that you heard of going, how in the world and how thankful were they that they had specifically around plumbing? I'm just curious if you have some plumbing stories.
I do, and ironically, it was with another Keller Williams agent at another market center, but I mean, I genuinely just felt horrible for the guy. But we worked in tandem with the insurance company, and we look at the source of the failure, but this poor man had walls and concrete foundation issues beyond. It was a hot mess. So we basically, our coverage helped put the money back in his pocket to cover his deductible for his insurance. So,
Nice.
it didn't, by no means, with all he had going on, there was no way. It was a major issue that the foundation had to be redone, and the jackhammers and all kinds of crazy stuff. So,
Yep.
And that's a dance. It really is. That's not just a plug and play, walk in, okay, here you go, there's your check. It took months for him to get the insurance company and all of these things, but we hung in there with them. And he and I had this weekly phone call. It was almost comical. It's like, hey, how's it going this week? What's the horror story? And but he was very thankful that $1,000 deductible on his insurance was then, put back in his bank account because of the homeowners policy, home warranty policy that he had with us.
Right. Yeah. Again, it goes back to that peace of mind. Move on to the next component, electrical. Right. We look at electrical, Federal Pacific panels that need to be replaced. But if you haven't bought recently an insurance, give over that. Then you have the technology called stab lock, and stab lock is going to be hazardous. Aluminum wiring is going to be hazardous. Two-prong cloth wiring that aren't grounded. These are all 4-point inspection failures, but these are also things that are going to be fail-safe. Yet on the very small thing, I'm thinking electrical for me, it's GFCI outlets that go bad or breakers that go bad, right? Yep. That's probably more of what you're going to see is a breakers got burnt out because you put too many Christmas lights up, and you guys come out there.
Or some DIYer put one in and didn't do it right, and when it went through home inspection, the inspector found it. So this is where we dovetail with the listing agents really well, and those homeowners trying to sell their home. Granted, this market's crazy right now, and they barely just have to sweep the floor and then hand the house over because everybody's like bringing, the family everything. Goat just to take it. The home inspection, when they have it, if they have listing coverage on their home, it's $60. It's paid at closing. So yes and amen. Add it every time. But the thing is when that GFCI comes up that it's not working or that it was installed incorrectly or whatever, and the home inspection, instead of having that homeowner call and pay an electrician out of pocket, call in a claim, pay the $100, have us fix it.
Wow, I didn't know that. So let me back that up a little bit. So we get a home. I actually had this out in the house in Eustis. It was a DIY special, which is always what we see with electrical, and it's junction boxes in the outside are indoor junction boxes. They got replaced, or there's too much overloading on a certain breaker, and so you guys will actually warranty somebody's careless or incorrect work.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say if they have a home inspection and it comes up on a home inspection, as is every house is different. We will come in and we will then charge that $100 contractor service fee. Our contractor will diagnose the source and the issue, and if it's eligible under the warranty, it will be covered. If it's not eligible under the warranty, that homeowner is still in good shape, because here's what's happened. They've got a reputable contractor that we've vetted, that we've done our due diligence and made them go through our list of things that they have to be and do to be one of our contractors. We will refund that $100 service fee, so they're not out any money, but they've got somebody boots on the ground that has already, it's not just somebody that they got out of Google or Yelp or whatever. And then if we fix it either inside the warranty for coverage or outside the warranty, what that does is when that seller then passes a home warranty to the buyer and that buyer's in there living now, if something happens with that again, or something similar along the electrical piece, there's a history of that home through 210 that we sent somebody out, that it was eligible under the warranty and we repaired it, or it wasn't eligible under the warranty, but our contractor repaired it and put the information in with the home. So not only is that seller mitigating their risk that they didn't, pass on a mess to this new buyer, that buyer's protected, and you as a real estate agent are protected, because they're not ringing your phone going, you sold me a house with a wackadoo whatever, So,
well, I love that, and the peace of mind that says, yes, the houses are going off the market inside 7 days, yet it also will take 30 to 45 days to close after that. So sellers oftentimes are vacating the house. It's sitting there for 30 to 60 to 90 days. And for $60, they are included with the coverage for a home warranty that they purchase for the buyers in that first year.
Correct. And they're not obligated to purchase the buyer's coverage. I mean,
So they can do $60 just why I'm listed warranty, and they're covered there. We're getting close to some time, and I could keep talking to you because I think it's so intriguing of the understanding what exactly the services you guys offer. For appliances, it doesn't matter what appliances I have. One of the frequently asked questions I have, let's say Hank, right? Let's use yes, it's not an appliance, but cooling and heating.
Right.
He probably could have been resurrected and put on life support and last another 6 months.
Yeah.
Number one, if I called you paid $100 and you can say, I could fix this, but I'm going, you know what, pull the plug, I want new. How do I decide, or how does that work with you guys? If I want to just replace it, but you're going, no, I can fix it. Where does that rubber meet the road?
Okay, well, we don't Band-Aid it. We're not going to go to a junkyard or a refurb and try to rebuild it for you. So first, that's the most important. Secondly, and I just had this happen, hot water heater failed. They wanted to put in a tankless. Okay, that's great. Here's a buyout. We send you a check. This is what it would be if we replaced your hot water heater, X amount of dollars, and then you get that check and apply it to whatever you like.
Perfect. So you will give me the like kind upgrade, or if I want to upgrade and go from electric gas stove, or if I want to go from tank or tankless water heater, then you can go, all right, it's an extra $400. I'll give you $800. Go put that towards whatever you want, hopefully towards your new appliance.
It's going to be our wholesale cost. So it's going to be probably less, it's going to mitigate your out-of-pocket expense. It's not going to cover the whole thing, but it will definitely, anytime somebody wants to hand you $500 to go get, I just did it yesterday. Somebody had the option of repairing the washer or getting money and going out and getting whatever they wanted. They chose to go get what they wanted. We send them a check. They pay off the credit card or whatever, however they pay it. Perfect. I had an example last year where an ice maker in a Keller Williams agent's refrigerator, ironically, wasn't working. And we couldn't find the part for it. So we were going to give him a new refrigerator. Well, the refrigerator of commensurate value was not what he wanted. He wanted to do something different. So we then sent him a $900 check for an ice maker.
Wow.
He then took that $900 check and he was able to go get another ice maker for his fridge and then handle it on his own. And he put the remaining $600 in his bank.
So you'll cover all the appliances. I have a commercial ice maker. You'll cover that too?
Commercial's a different conversation about our luxury package. So there's some things that it depends on the model and so forth, but
sweet.
I
like it. I think you sold me. We are at 3:00. We're against the end of the hour. That was a very fast 20 minutes. Donna, thanks for joining. Monica, we did the drawing there. That's when I was on mute. I pulled out the hat. And Monica, if you're still watching, you have won that card. And Monica, I think we have your information. So Donna, you'll make sure that you have Monica's information from her email or her mailing address. We'll make sure you guys connect. If you're listening out here and you don't have a home warranty, really consider, because I'm going back to my cost that I've had, and I'm going, it's at least paying for itself. Take Hank aside, it's at least paying for itself. And if your name is Hank, there's no offense to you. That's just the nickname that I gave it to him. No, thanks for jumping on.
If they're not tied to a transaction right now, they can get a hold of me and I can get them set up under a warranty. And for those non-transactional home warranty buyers, it's only a 30-day waiting period. So if it's tied to a transaction, or I can use a real estate agent referral, then I can get it done immediately. But otherwise, it's a 30-day waiting period. But still.
So if they go through me and then go to you, then it's immediate. Summer's
coming, and it's not going to be fun.
That's a hidden tip there. And this is your direct cell phone there, right?
It is. It's right here.
That's one of my favorite things about working with you is you're not calling an 800 number. You're calling Donna direct. She can get in touch. So you're not going to have to worry about how long is your AC going to be off for, how long are you without a refrigerator, how long.
Well, and to be honest, all of our call centers are here in the U.S. We've got them in Texas, Ohio, and Denver. So different call zones, time zones, call centers. You get me or you get another English speaking or Spanish speaking if needed. rep on the phone.
Perfect. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us. Our website that you'll be featured on is also going to be live here the next week or so. So excited for that. Thanks for being a partner now and for the future. And those of you who called in and are still listening, I appreciate it. We're going to bring in pro number 5 coming live from her sport utility vehicle. She doesn't know she's on yet, but she is. We'll see how long Jen stares at us before she's, oh, there she's realizes she's on. So Donna, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick.
And we'll see you at the end of the hour. Goodbye.
Got it. Bye.
What's up, Jen? I can't tell. I think you're parked, right? I don't see the. It's not moving in the back there. Oh, I need to change names. Hold on.
Yeah.
Banner.
No, definitely parked.
There we go.
Safety first.
Perfect. So, as a reminder, we're on our 5th pro. This is Jen Pereira with Fidelity National Title of Florida, and she's one of our preferred partners who we happily endorse and support and coexist in this wonderful world of real estate that we do. And she's helped contribute to this Yeti cooler behind me. And give us a call right now. You can see it scrolling. Let me edit to take off that $50 because that money is gone. So let's do this real fast. Edit, take away, bam, and save. There we go. So give us a call at this number. Jennifer is taking calls. And so she's ready for you. Every time a new guest comes on, you can call in again to give yourself another chance for an entry. So there we go. That's what we're doing. We're in the home stretch, final hour. Jen, thanks for coming back on the show with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
This is our first Meet the Pros segment, and my intention and vision is once a quarter, I bring in 6 people to be able to showcase who you are, what you do, why you do it, to be able to endorse your company, hopefully get some good morale, some good advertisement, maybe some new customer acquisition. So talk to us about you and talk to us about your company, and then I'll go from there with some questions. Who are you?
Well,
how long have you been doing this for? Yep.
So my name is Jen Pereira, and like Rick was saying, I do work for Fidelity National Title. But just a little bit personal about me is I moved to Florida from Ohio in '97. Everything on my car was completely frozen, and I said, I'm not going through another winter. So I moved down to Florida and have been here ever since, and definitely visit family when it's warmer, for sure.
Yes.
So I have 2 children, and I have 3 dogs, and I got remarried in 2017, and he has 2 adult children. So we live in Oviedo, Florida. And I don't know how far this is reaching, but it's a great little community, very family oriented. Everyone's really nice, great schools. So if you're planning on moving to Central Florida, definitely reach out to Rick to find you a house in Oviedo.
Well, hold on that thought real quick. I just want to do a quick stat because we talked about an hour ago the lack of inventory. I wanted to see if you have a guess, Jen. How many houses are currently for sale in Oviedo?
I think, well, last time I looked, there were like 30 single family. I don't know if I'm anywhere close or if we've had a little boost.
I am uber impressed because I would have guessed way more. Total is 34 homes. Single family is 28. That is nuts. You guessed 30, so you were spot on.
It's crazy.
Yet, even just last week, I saw there were 39 homes for sale in Oviedo. I just pulled up now. It says 34 residences for sale in Oviedo. You know numbers. You're constantly pulling numbers. You pull numbers for us. We're doing monthly letters in partnership with you to absentee owners of Oviedo, and it's over 600 or 700. How many actual residences are there in Oviedo? Do you know? I don't. Do you know how many homes are in Oviedo?
Wow. There's got to be in the hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
And there's 30 for sale, which is mind blowing. I share that because when I meet with buyers and I get their criteria, I get their must-haves, I get their wants, I get their desires, and I say, based on your search criteria, our goal is to find 35 to 50 contenders. If we can do that, it's a good search that you can wean down to get your top 5 to 10. And oftentimes, because Oviedo is the #1 city in Florida to raise a family per national recognition, top 25 in the whole country, people say, I want to live in Oviedo. And I go, great. Our search criteria is done. Congratulations. Here's your 34 options. Tell me which one of your favorite. It's absolutely incredible with it. So you've got an Oviedo house. Congratulations, because it is highly, highly desirable. And talking about the saturation market, it's about 2 weeks. That the days on market in a balanced market is 6 months. In Oviedo, it's 2 weeks, which is crazy. But our office is out of Oviedo. Your office is out of Oviedo. 24 what?
Yeah, within 24 hours, there was a home that was put up in Castleberry and for sale, and she got 26 offers. 26. Like, that's a task on its own. And,
was this last week?
Just
was this with the Morris team?
24 to 48 hours.
Was this the Morris team?
No, it was with Lori.
So I was I was one of 30 offers on a Castleberry home last week, and we did not win. 30 offers in the first.
Yeah, this was just recently.
All right, so we're kind of digressing, because I do want to make this about you guys with title. Your customers are realtors who have listings and who would endorse and introduce you to the seller, to then typically in Florida, the seller's choosing title, and or if you're refinancing, you also go through title, right? So those are your two customer bases, either oops, I lost her. She gone. Well, she'll log back in here again, I hope. So her two customers are for resale or for title. And so I didn't know this, or if you wanted to quit claim, that sort of thing. So we are refinancing our investment property. My wife bought it back in 2010. And with this refi, we're going back to Fidelity National Title of Florida and getting out of where I can get there as well. Heather, you had mentioned 15 to 20 buyers, one listing. Yeah, and Heather, thanks for staying on here, because we are seeing that the houses are going ridiculously fast, and it's a great opportunity to go out and find more listings. Can you imagine if you got a knock on the door and said, knock, 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 hello, Mr. Homeowner, these are 29 people who put an offer on your neighbor's house because they want to be in this neighborhood, and they lost because only one person got it. And so there's 29 people willing to pay above market value for a house. So now I'm talking to myself. One is the loneliest number. That's all right. You guys know I can do it. Heather, if you want to jump back on, I'll keep talking to you until Jen comes back with us. I will say with Jen, they've got a fantastic team. It is a national title company. They're throughout the U.S. They have several branches here in Central Florida. She is the marketing customer care representative for the Oviedo branch. What's nice is, oh, here she comes back. Not yet. What's nice is I can have listings outside of Oviedo. We've done listings in Volusia County. We've done listings in Lake County, and still go through their branch, and they can close remotely. So it doesn't mean that all parties have to drive into Oviedo. The Oviedo branch can close it, can process it. We've got that team working for us, and then they can send a remote closer out that's convenient for the buyer and seller. So I'm glad you came back. I wasn't sure how long I could just talk about you without you here.
You're not going to believe this, but in Florida, sometimes if you're in your car and you hold your phone up and the sun is beating on it, it will go into emergency. It is too hot.
Too hot mode.
It needs to cool down. So I had it up against the air conditioner, just waiting for it to reboot.
Oh my gosh. I didn't, they must have just been through like how hot is it outside? I guess
I don't know,
you're in a sweater.
The sun, I know it was really cold when I left today. I was being really wimpy, but I guess with the sun coming into the window, the front window, it got really hot. So I apologize, but I got on and you were doing such a fantastic job talking about how we can close. And we have 60 offices in Florida. And we are able to close doing remote online notarization. Actually, when the storm hit last week or so in Texas, it affected FedEx, the whole route. And we had sent some seller documents a week before the buyers were signing to Oregon, and the sellers sent them back, or the notary sent them back, and we never got them. So we went into the mode of, okay, let's go ahead and make sure they qualify for remote online notarization. And we were able to schedule that with the seller, and the closing went off without a hitch.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, that talks about the leadership, that talks about the resources, talks about the extendability and the reach there. So 60 office Central Florida, you guys all play nice. So as I am a seller and I am shopping for title, or if I'm refinancing and shopping for title, what exactly am I shopping for? What are some things I need to know about you that differentiates you from the next guy? And what should I be looking for when I am interviewing?
Yeah, so we are a regulated industry, just like lenders. There's regulations to protect the clients, which there should be. So basically, when you are selling a home and you're looking for a title company, you're going to want to look for someone that, doesn't have a lot of like weird fees that you can't go, I can't really identify, what that fee would really be used for. So you really need someone that's going to take the time to explain, what those fees are. There are fees that, they have a certain formula. The county is going to want their taxes for their transfer taxes of, and recording, all these, the financial industries regulated, again, amazing. Like title insurance, it's a regulated policy that the seller is purchasing for the new buyer. So you're going to see closing fees. You're going to see a lien search, because we want to make sure that there's no contractor liens or open water or electricity bills that are due, because we don't want to transfer title and transfer a big mess, to the buyer, basically. So,
well, the thing about it is title insurance, right? So it is that peace of mind that says, buyer, you can own this new home, and rest assured, there's nobody that has a lien in the house that has a claim for this house.
Right.
And if somebody does knock on your door and say, I put on this new roof and you owe me money, then that's what title insurance is for, and you guys will rectify it or figure it out if it was missed.
Yeah.
Right?
So title insurance protects you for the past, where hazard insurance protects you for future claims that can happen. So things that can pop up is heirs, maybe from years ago, that have just realized that they own a piece of a property, and that they were missed somewhere in the line of transferring deeds. And, it can happen. So what would happen is, if a seller was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know somebody else had a claim to my home, what they would do is they would place a claim on the previous title policy to have that rectified. So that's
how is that rectified then? So I bought a house 3 years later. Billy from down the street says, I own part of this house. How does he get paid? I mean, where does that come from?
The title insurance would have to pay his percentage of ownership.
Okay.
So at the time, if they had 4 owners and only 3 of them signed, then the title insurance company would go back and they would have to rectify, that, and make sure that that person received what they are due. Yeah.
And so I just sold a house with you guys. You helped me out with it over in Calusa, and the mother passed away. We had one sibling was the point of contact, so he signed everything. And then halfway through the transaction, we said, no, he doesn't have sole power of attorney. you need all 4 siblings' signatures on there. Are you up next to the air condition again?
Yes.
I hear it in the microphone. It's like a wind
okay.
gust.
I'm so sorry. I just didn't want my phone to overheat. Oh my gosh.
That's put in the shade.
Yeah.
How did you guys find that out? Did you look at the will? Did you look at probate? I mean, what is the check and balance for that for me to know that there's not a 5th sibling somewhere? How do you know that?
Yeah. So my position, and I'll have to, I think Susan or Brenda would need to be on to answer that one properly. I do sales, I do business development, so I don't get in the trenches of the file.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is a very, very good question. But as they are reviewing title, they're talking with the probate attorney, and they're working with everyone to get to the closing table. They do find out, that there is a cloud on title, and then we have to go back and have other people sign. Or if it gets to that point where they cannot correct the deed, then they would have to go back and place a claim. So it just
I imagine that happens more often than not. And then worst case scenario would be that 5th sibling says, nope, I don't want to sell. And now all of a sudden it's not a valid contract because you don't have all parties who signed it.
Right.
And that becomes a whole different hot mess.
Right. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's some of the crazy stories you can share from what you guys have seen that you're going, yeah, you wouldn't believe this happened. I've got a good one if you need some.
Yeah, I don't really have a crazy story. I just know that things that closings that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have the resources that we have. They would have had to wait. It would have been delayed. But as far as the technology goes, and what we're able to offer to get us everyone to the closing table and do it safely, is just amazing. And that's why I love where I work. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, and you're so good at what you do because, like you mentioned, you are customer relation business development, right? So you're not in the trenches. You are not looking at deeds. You're not looking at probates and wills. You're out here in your car in between appointments, jumping on podcasts and having conversations. Do you specifically, as your target audience, realtors, or do you also target marketing consumers as well? What is your job description, and what's so valuable or useful about having your cell phone safe in someone's phone?
Yeah. So the really nice thing is that I do personally get to partner with real estate agents and loan officers and, just the general public. We don't market to the general public like, oh, hey, are you going to sell your house? But we do help you identify people, that are most likely to sell and offer that service. Sometimes sellers are completely fine with just taking your word that you have a partner that you work with. But I definitely make phone calls, to answer any questions that someone has on their net sheet, or what the process is, or different ways to close. So, I'm always available, but my partners, for that repeat business, is definitely my real estate partners and my loan officers. We all work together, as a team, to make sure that we have a smooth closing.
Well, and what I love is when I have had some hiccups with miscommunication or something that was just error, I don't have to wonder who's handling the file right now, and they're busy trench. I can give you a call, and I know you're going to go out there, make the right calls, and give me feedback. Because again, at the end of the day, we're a team, and there are so many hands in the pot when we sell a house that says, if you do a poor job, and I recommended you, then vicariously I've done a poor job. So it's so important for me to choose partners. So thank you for that, because things go south. I mentioned this before, I think with Heather, pilots cannot guarantee that you're going to land on time without turbulence. I mean, it's almost expected. There will be some turbulence, just matters from which angle and when it comes.
Right.
When that happens, who's on your team? How are we responding? How are we communicating? And how are we rectifying it? So that's something I really appreciate about what you guys do, is when hiccups are had or mistakes are made or glitches or miscommunication, you're going, that's no problem. we're on it. We'll fix it. We'll rectify it. And we're good to go.
Yeah, definitely. So, there's a lot of parties in a transaction to make it go smoothly. And if everyone can communicate and, work together, we've got lenders, we've got surveyors, we've got appraisals. There's a lot of people involved in the transaction, and, we all need to just make sure we're doing a good job about making sure that things are done on time. So that there's no, delays. We never want to be the people that are like, oh, it's us that's delaying everything.
Yeah. Well, and you got married in 2017 and you inherited 2 adult children. It's just kind of like when you're marrying the husband, you're also marrying the kids. Yeah. And it kind of goes to when you're choosing your realtor, you're choosing the realtor's partners in a lot of ways, right? Yeah. And so that's a great interview technique as well of going, tell me the relationships you have with all the players that are going to be in this transaction.
Right.
And not every realtor has purposeful, intentional relationships that we can build upon and trust that when there's a pinch, you and I can call each other and we're going to pick up this phone. This is a VIP.
Yeah, so, definitely. Yeah.
I love
all of our clients are VIPs. And
I'm like the VIP.
Yeah.
They all are. Well, hey, thank you as always. We're against the clock here. I've got Andrew in the waiting room. I'm gonna bring him in here as we say goodbye to you. You guys know each other because you were both on the solar panel episode that we did probably 2 months ago.
That was fun. It was very educational.
Yep, that was a good one there. So Jen, thank you as always. And we've got our last segment here. I'm going to sign you off. Let's see. See you later. Cool off that phone. Perfect. Now, Jen and Andrew, what's up, my man?
How's it going? Hold on a sec, guys.
Yes.
There we go. How you guys doing?
You are good. You are frozen. Oh, there you go.
Frozen?
You're unfrozen. I think you were just really still. You weren't frozen. You were focused. Yeah. So you're wrapping us up here. If you're just joining us or watching us now, this is the Meet the Pros show. And once a quarter, we are doing a segment where we're introducing and telling the story and endorsing 6 of our favorite local providers, allied resources partners. And Andrew, I've known you, gosh, it seems like almost a decade in different industries. About 5 years ago, you came to my house and put solar panels on my house. And so I've also, worked with you in real estate, and I've been a customer for you, and now a referrer because we've had a couple clients go out there after you put panels up. So thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate it. And now what we want to do is endorse and tell your story and tell your product, because solar is one of those things, kind of like electric cars, like ready or not, here it comes.
Yeah.
Right. And Teslas are becoming a lot more mainstream. And the Super Bowl, we had the Cadillac fully electric car. And so I told my wife I've got a GMC pickup and I love it right now. Yet I intend my next vehicle to be fully electric, and I'm just prepared for that's the way it's going to go. And so we're moving into that phase. You probably have a lot more insight with it, but talk to us a little bit about your company, and then I've got some questions just about the solar industry. So fire away, man. You've got the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show once again. As everybody knows, solar is really taking off. And one thing that differentiates my company versus everybody else who's out there in the industry doing it is we allow for you guys to truly look at your home as the essential load center for your vehicle of the future. Solar is one of those things you can see a lot of people are turning over to it, and a lot of people are getting into it. But one thing that we also have the capability to do is, just as you spoke, you got an EV car, where are you going to charge it? Do you want to go to the gas station, or do you want to go to Publix? Do you want to charge it from the library, or do you want to have the capability to even charge it from your own home? So that's one of the things that we do at UMA Solar is we sell the products that allow you to get it installed by your local electrician or get it installed by your home builder themselves. But putting that EV charging port within your home, having backup storage so you can have a battery for the hurricane or the outage, or in some different municipalities where the power company is only going to allow you to use the energy that you create, and what you backflow to them, you're being charged back for. So it's kind of unfair, but a lot of those situations, if you couple the right tools, you get the solution that you're looking for, which is having a net zero electricity bill. And then plus, now again with the EV charging, you have the capability to have your car be charged directly from your solar, so you're not paying for an additional expense in your electricity bill for that reason. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking there's two, maybe more, but two reasons someone would go solar that comes on top of my mind. Number one, to be green and leave a good footprint on Earth, right? To use less consumable products and live off of the land. Number two is it is a cost benefit. Talk to me about each of those segments of going, what sort of impact is each house that's running off the grid having? You gave me some pretty astounding stats when we put our last solar on of, every year we use an equivalent of. Give us some of those stats that talk about, the greenness and the longevity of Earth, for that matter, just the benefits to society. Yeah.
So one of the key benefits that you're really looking at is your carbon footprint. So that's kind of the
that's what I was looking. I keep saying footprint, carbon footprint. Thank you.
Yeah. That is the big ticket item that people who are looking to get into renewable energies are truly saying, hey, how is this going to affect my carbon footprint? Well, when you look at the stats based off of a home using power in a 20-year time frame, you're typically looking at just about 1 million to 1.25 parts per unit as far as carbon that you're emitting on a home. So when that equates to, as far as, let's say, trees as your measurable, that's typically about 10 to 12,000 trees that you're saving by you saying, hey, I'm going to go solar. But then more importantly, when you're looking at the amount of coal, or let's say natural gas, or whatever the normal accelerant to get electricity would look to be, that is where the really big reduction is. We have to understand that the products that we're using right now to power your homes in a typical situation are not renewable. If you're using coal, or if you're using a diesel product or something to that extent, ultimately speaking, it's going to cause for that pollution apparatus to really be there. So when you're looking at saying, hey, I'm going solar on my property, I'm going to be looking to save costs, I'm looking to save money. It's not just so much about how you're going to be saving in the standpoint of dollars and cents. And as you can kind of see, if you're in a Duke territory, just for instance, and you want to say, well, what am I going to be saving? You're going to save yourself 15 cents a watt. That's what you're paying for power. The average house uses about 25 to 30,000 kilowatt hours of power. If you're looking at, a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3,000 square foot home, if you're looking at the math at 15 cents a watt, that's about $4,000 to $5,000 a year in electricity costs that you're going to be throwing away. At the end of the day, you could
I want to back it up just so I can understand what we said. You said the average person uses 30,000 watts a year, or kilowatts a year?
Kilowatts. So watts. You could say, 30 kilowatts or 3,000 watts, however you want to really break it down.
So 30,000 times 0.15. Right. Is that 4,500, which is the average. So divide that by 12. The average bill is $375 a month.
Pretty much. Okay. Yeah. If you're looking at your, you're saying, hey, family of 4, we got a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. We got a pool. We're in a, pretty newer home, maybe not something so old, but something that's built in the late 90s, 2000s, even up to 2015, some would say. Yep. That's kind of what your average utility bill is going to look to be. Okay. By you going solar and cutting that out and reducing the electricity cost completely, you're going to be somewhere closer to about 8, almost 9 cents per watt, but to own, not to rent, to actually have a tangible asset on your roof. And at the end of the day, something that's going to replicate back when you're looking to sell your house. A lot of people are worried about, well, if I sell my house, am I going to get the money back that I invested into it? In most all situations, my mom, she recently just sold her house. She ended up selling at the highest price point square foot in her community. And a lot of it was attributed to the fact that she had solar?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago, it was relatively new and people didn't know how to say it. And I've talked with many appraisers. We're going to have an appraiser on the show here in a couple weeks. And essentially what I've learned is that it's equivalent to a pool, that if I were to go out and put in a brand new pool and it cost me 50 grand, a year later, I might get $25,000 comp for that. So if I put in brand new solar and the solar cost me 40 grand, a year later, I might get 20 for it. But the cool thing is 10 years later, that pool will also give me 20 or 25 grand. And so will that solar. So it's like when you drive a car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, you depreciate it. And the first 2 years is the major depreciation value of a car. The same thing for a pool, the same thing for solar. So really, if you're going to be in your house for indefinite or at least 4 or 5 years, there's a good chance it's going to either recoup the cost at resale value because the depreciation of what you've done, it was that you had enough time to trade off and pay yourself versus pay Duke or whatever energy company you have. And then you did add a higher value to your home and get the equity there. So
and not to interrupt, but the other point that you have as well too is because you have tax credits on your system, in addition to with a pool, you have to pay for that pool. The pool is probably costing you $115, $120 a month in servicing, plus the additional electricity costs that you'd have on the pool. Now, yeah, it's a luxury item. You can hop in a pool. You can't hop in your solar, right? But in the same token,
would recommend it.
Yeah, wouldn't recommend it either. At the same token, though, you have now reduced that monthly outlay of costs. So if you're saying, hey, I'm saving myself 10 years of electricity costs at $4,500 a clip each year, well, I've saved myself $45,000 over 10 years.
Yep.
But now when I sell my house and I'm still getting that same $20,000 for that system that I paid $40,000 for, you really have a huge upswing on what that actual investment is. And in addition to the 26% tax credit you got on that system. So if you're going to say, hey, what's the better investment, the pool or the solar or the granite kitchen upgrade that you want to do at new construction, or, you know, one of those type of items, you got to remember the solar is paying for itself. So it's reducing that $375 electricity bill. Let's tack that into the kitchen upgrade, right? Or let's tack that into even the pool upgrade that you might want to look to do and break even. So it's a phenomenal investment if you're looking to say, hey, I could kill two birds with one stone. Solar is going to be able to give you that.
Yeah. Well, what I love about the thinking on this, because I did the same thing, because we the house you put solar on, I intended to do empty nest there, and then lo and behold, 2 years later I moved. Right. So I was one of the people that put it on, lost it, but recouped a good chunk of it. It cost us $40,000 for that, just based. It was a 3,000 square foot home. So it cost 40 grand. I got that tax credit back, so I owed about 28,000.
Right.
Yet I got, I think, about 20,000 back on my appraisal for it. So the thing actually only cost me 8,000. And if I look at those 2 years that I paid, where I paid solar debt as opposed to Duke Energy, that was probably close to about 8,000. So it truly was a break even just after 2 or 3 years.
Right.
And to look at it, not of going, what's the total cost, of going, my first day I put it on, my net worth has gone down because my liability has gone up by 40, my assets gone up by 20.
Right.
Over time, my assets going to stay the same at that 20, but my liability is going to get reduced. And I think that's something to look at when you're doing that, including me. This is me doing self-talk for my new house, of going, what's that switch cost? And if we think about it in terms of net worth, the cash flow pays for itself. Because now you're just paying UMA solar, or you're paying outright cash and you're paying yourself back, as opposed to paying Duke. Something that astounded me when you shared it with me back when we hired you was the growth rate and costs that you're seeing from companies like FP&L or Duke. Every year they're increasing their costs. I think you said by 5% historically.
Historically speaking, yeah, nation average is 4.7%. For the nation's average. Now, FP&L is better than most. I'll give them credit in the standpoint that they don't truly do large or they don't do minute increases from the 4 to 5% per year. They usually do like a 17 or 18% increase every 5 years.
Okay.
But then also in the same token, they do bill reductions and they do different programs that makes it more attractive. Plus, they're already set at one of the lower rates in the state of Florida. Now, however, if you're in a Duke territory, you have the other side of the pendulum on that one. They're the most, if not one of the most expensive. I believe they're still in the top 4. There's a few that are more expensive than them, which are like Gainesville Power and some of the smaller municipalities. But Duke Large Point, they're about 15 to 15.5 cents per watt. And they have been doing a steady increase of about 4 to 5%, following what the nation's average is when it comes to increasing your rate. So, you know, when you're looking at the compound effect on the flip end of yourself, of you having to say, hey, right now I'm at 4,000, let's say annually, in the next 10 years, if you're looking at even a minor 4% increase, that's going to really feel not so great 10 years from now. You're going to be looking at paying 40, 50% more in power at that clip. So, you know, by going solar, what you do is you truly do lock in your rate. You make your costs monthly predictable. You know, it's what's going to be in and out. You know, most systems that people are putting up on their house now, because they're able to get large tax credits, they're going to produce everything that they need because it's just cheaper to. They're going to look to say, hey, if my house, like your house, for instance, I remember you said you had a few months where you didn't hit the $0 mark or the $10 mark, but for 80, 90% of the months that you had your bill, you weren't paying anything more than 10% or $10 a month, which is the connection fee.
Right.
You know, most of the times when we're designing systems, we want it to fall into that marker. If we can get you to a 0 bill, we're going to look to do it at all costs.
I love it. Yep. Well, and final question here, and this is me truly curious. I just put it on a new roof. This roof's going to last me 15 to 20 years. I get a new car in the driveway. The car is going to last me, if I drive the wheels off of it, 200,000 miles. How long is the technology of solar? What's the lifespan of it that I should be prepared that I've got to do it again? What's the longevity of it?
Typically, most systems are going to be able to fit into a good degradation rate, which means what percentage are they going to fall off at? So, you know, I put a system on my roof now, 20 years from now, what can I expect? Most good systems are going to be at about an 85%, I would say, degradation rate. So that means in 20 years, they're still producing 85% of the power they were from day one.
Okay.
But after this is what happens. You're kind of like here. I don't know if you guys see my fingers. So say this is 85%, right? At 10 years after this, at 20 years at 85%, it drops dramatically down where it's not even on the screen anymore. So between your first 20 years, it's like a 0.5 or maybe a 0.6% drop off. But once the 20-year marker hits, you probably start dropping down to about a 1.5 to 2% drop off per year. So that next 10 years, if you're at a 30-year look at it, you're probably going to be closer to like 50, 60%. So usually once you get to year 20, sometimes 25 on some of the better systems like a Panasonic or an LG panel, that is where you're going to say, hey, we might need to look to do something new. We're not getting the same efficiency rating out of the system. So by that 20, 25-year marker, you're probably want to go ahead and replace those panels out, replace the inverters out, which is the bulk of the system. In California, we're seeing it now because they've hit that marker. In Florida, we haven't hit that yet. But people are getting something back for the older systems. I actually looked up a cool company the other day that does a lot of recycling of solar panels, because now that's going to become a big market as so many people have gone solar, where they're saying, hey, we'll take your stuff back. We'll buy it back at pennies on the dollar. You can use it as a charitable donation to write it off on your taxes, whatever you want to look at. But that way, you know, at least you're getting something from your old system, you know, in 2041, let's say, if you went solar today, that in 20 years from now, you're still going to be able to get something. And then hopefully by that time in 20 years, the technology is such that you might only need 10 panels when you needed 30, you know, something to that marker. Because
that's what I was thinking. The technology to change so much reminds me of the cell phones. of 6 months after I own this thing, my charge only lasts until 5 p.m. It used to last till 9 p.m. And then 2 years into it, I got to recharge it before lunch. And every time I upgrade my phone, it has a 15-hour battery instead of last phone was a 12-year battery. So I know technology is going to change. And in 20 years, just like everyone has to have a roof on their house, I imagine everyone's going to have solar of some sort. So it's one of those things like electric vehicles. I believe that my kids who are 4, 5, and 2 years old, they're going to only know reusable energy instead of the finite. So I love where you're at because obviously you're in a growing industry, and this is your direct cell phone, right?
This is my direct number that's up on the screen now.
So if anyone has any questions, 407-923-9536. Call Andrew with UMA Solar. He'll come out. He'll take a look at your current energy bills. What's your wattage? What it would take. He draws up what the schematics would look like, where we'd put it on your roof, where he would put it on your roof based on the best sunlight. And then they've got some packages. Your financing last time we looked was either a 10-year or a 20-year for under 3%, right?
Oh, yeah. All of them are under 3% right now. We even have a new 25-year loan. So if you're looking at somebody who's really trying to get their cost, their monthly input and output to be as low as possible, a 25-year loan is a great option. And that still is under it's actually 1.99 rate right now, the 25-year loan. So, we have some really good financing offers. You can still bundle it in and get the tax credit for battery chargers and EV ports as well too. So if people are interested in saying, hey, I want to get a full suite, you can get the tax credit on all 3 items that I just mentioned. The new administration that's in right now is really looking to bring back, which is exciting for us, the 30% tax credit on everything. Currently right now it's 26%.
Okay.
But they actually just passed in Congress, it's called the Green Act, which would bring it back to where you're 30%, I remember this correctly, 30% tax credit on solar, extended to 2028. So that would almost kind of stamp it in place for quite some time to say, hey, you have a lot of time to think about this, but at the same time, you don't want to think too long about it because you're still paying an electricity bill month in, month out that you're thinking about, should I go solar or should I not go solar?
Yep. I love it. Great information. Andrew, stay tuned here. I'm going to bring back, we've got some people who have joined us back here.
Awesome.
Do a little bit of the Brady Bunch spot. Oh, Heather just walked. There she goes. And Heather, thanks for always, I see people watching the whole show. So Heather mentioned that's so true, up to 30% tax credit. Keep us informed, Andrew, when that goes live. I think that's a great information to share out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if memory serves, we are able to do it with 0 down. And you took that tax credit, and I just took that credit instead of in my pocket. I put it straight towards my debt reduction, and my average bill ended up being $277 a month. I remember this that I was paying you, with anywhere from $10 to $30 that I was paying Duke. So my average was $285 to $300, which is the same thing it was before, except my asset of my house went up by $20,000. So, win. Let me take Andrew off. Guys, I'm pooped. How you guys doing?
Yeah, how you feeling?
Whew, I'm tired.
Bosley.
There we go. Look at all these faces and names there. I love it.
It's the Brady Bunch.
We are wrapping up. Yeah, this is what I thought it would be fun if we had a more engaging audience. We were going to play Hollywood Squares. You guys remember that?
Fun.
If we can just go grab 3 more people, we'll play Hollywood Squares. You have to think of some kind of uncouth jokes. Ryan, I think you'd have that because you're always going, are we live yet? Can I speak freely or no? Taylor actually moved from office to house, I think.
I did.
I did too.
Out of necessity. I had to mad dash home from Melbourne, so I'm glad to be on here.
Right on. Wait, I'm going to, Jen's got one more phone call here. We're going to do drawing. I think we can do it here in a couple of minutes. To chat about, what do you guys want to chat about? And I'm going to put myself away for about 35 seconds. Hold on.
Yeah, Rick, that's impressive, man. He's primed the pipes to go for almost 3 hours here.
Right, with the cold or something that he's got going on with congestion, right?
Well, somebody call his wife because he's met his 2,500 word capacity, I'm sure.
He's way past it. Hey, good stuff that I was just going to mention. Good stuff that you brought to the house there, Andrew.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I actually was on another call this morning hearing some very concise and repetitive information. So it's good to know that, solar is strong and consistent and still out there and available for our clients.
No, absolutely. It's cool to validate it a lot and to kind of hear the same echo. Man, it feels like forever, but it's been 5 years. So when I first started, it was a lot of people were apprehensive because they just didn't trust in the technology, and they didn't, early adopters are always the one who get the better benefit. Now you can just see the progression and everywhere you go, you see somebody who has solar on the residential building or commercial buildings or more schools and carports and things like that. So it's really became kind of the industry standard. If you're saying, hey, I'm getting into a house, how best can I be cost effective and smart about it? Solar's definitely a way to go.
Andrew, kind of I don't know, this might be a dumb question, but like in hurricane, if your panels stay on, you're live, right?
If you have a backup battery, absolutely. I mean, in majority cases where the industry is shifting to now is for people 4 or 5 years ago who got solar and they just wanted to get their toes in the water. Mm-hmm. Now a lot of those old clients I had are coming back to me and saying, hey, we want the battery now. We've seen the reduction. We've looked at what our neighbors' bills compared to what we're paying. We can afford another $50 to $75 a month to give myself the security of having a backup battery. And that, again, it goes to show how the technology is progressing and getting continually better. When I was with Tesla's the only guys offering. I just did a commercial installation with a medical facility, and the whole point of him putting backup batteries in, which was the Generac system, you've probably seen a lot of commercials for it, sure. But he opted to go for that. He needed to back up his lab. He was like, awesome. If I lose my lab, if I lose my cultures and my regens and all of the equipment that are in my freezers, I'm losing $400,000 to $500,000 worth of stuff I can't get back, So if I have a redundancy system in with these backup batteries, and we did his live test, and he was scared, and we went to his main meter and we just shut it off. And he was like, what happened? We're like, it's fine. And then he just saw on his phone the app pop up, and it was like, okay, batteries are inactive. Batteries are active. Went, looked at it, everything without a beat. Everything was still working. Everything was fine. And he was like, this is amazing. I was like, you could operate like this almost all day if you wanted to, and not even pull power from the grid, and just keep your your regens on backup batteries all day long, all night long if you want to. So it's just kind of showing you what the power of what it can do. If you're in an area where you get brownouts, or you're end of line and you're in a really rural area, hurricanes come. Thank God we haven't had one in 3 or 4 years, but when they come, I don't know how many people here on the call have experienced being out of power for 7 days or 10 days. Yeah, see, Ryan's putting his hand up. Heather's putting her hand up. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. So, this makes it a lot easier for people.
Yeah.
How do the panels usually hold up? Pretty good?
Yeah, so in Florida now, every year, new building code for 2021, you have to be at 160 mile per hour wind load speed. Most everybody's trying to be at 190 mile per hour wind load speeds.
Wow.
So your panels will hold up. Your mounting brackets and how they attach to your roofs will hold up. They show a great video on Hurricane Michael that hit in 2018. It's up in Pensacola area, but it does a flyover of a community, and the people who had solar, which seems like there was quite a bit in the community, every single person who had solar panels, all the panels stayed on, and you can almost see on some parts of the roof where they didn't have panels, all the shingles are all the way gone, all the way down to just like the plywood. But where they had panels, the panels are still there, and it actually protects the shingles because the shingles underneath are not flying off. So, I mean, it's one of those things where if you're really looking at, not to say I want to protect my roof, but if you're saying, hey, I'm worried about roof damage or leak damage or anything like that, I've had 180 installations. I've had one instance where somebody had leak damage on that, and it was because the installer didn't install the product correctly. and they warranted it up for the first 25 years. So the person actually got a whole new roof because the installer messed up on the install. So you're always going to be protected from the standpoint of either the manufacturer that warranties 25 years or the installer, which most of them, if they're going to be really good, they'll back up the same thing that the manufacturer does and say, hey, we'll give you 25 years as well too.
Now, if they do get destroyed in a hurricane, Urban Young, Mr. Taylor Young, is that covered under insurance?
We call him Taylor next.
What did I say?
Don't ask me coverage questions while we're live, Ryan.
No, I'm just curious if solar is covered.
We're
Well, I
gonna
can
call you
assure you
later.
it's not a home warranty.
And then I'll inspect your roof. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. No, Rick and I had this conversation years ago when he got solar. So some companies, cover more solar than others, and some will cover limited. It is a limited marketplace, so I would say too, Andrew, I want to connect with you offline too, because there's a lot of synergy that we've found with people that do solar too, because a lot of times when you're getting a solar system, it's a good time to review your insurance because you may be getting a new roof, and also the company that you're with may not cover solar panels, or you may need a premises liability at a minimum of $1 million umbrella. So that's obviously Rick and I went through that and did that song and dance, and that's a very good question, Ryan.
I'd be
I was
curious
gonna say
if
that's
they
where we
have
had to go to $1 million umbrella.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Rick. I was wondering too. I would be interested. You just mentioned that, Taylor. I don't know exactly what the guys have seen on the roofs for solar, but as it relates to wind mitigation inspection, like like if they got installation of solar and then us coming back out to do another re-inspection, that would be interesting. So it'd probably be good for us to talk offline about that stuff too. That opens up some dialogue.
Sounds like as much as we've talked online, there's gonna be more talking offline for everyone except for Rick. He needs a lozenge or something.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Monday night I started getting under the weather a little bit, and I'm going, I got to conserve my voice. I got a big day. Yeah, a couple of coughing up, and so you guys won't have to hear it. But it stayed up, and I'm fresh out of my ice and my drink, so I think we're finishing in the nick of time here. All right, we've got about 100 people that we're going to do a random drawing. So I've got the let's see here.
Awesome.
Stream there. I've got my random generator. I think should we be fair and wait until 4 o'clock? We have 4 more minutes for people to call in. If people still call in, what are you thinking? Do it now. She says shut it down. She's
in charge. You better do what you said, Rick.
Oh, so they want to know by 4 o'clock, call the winner. So this is on Google random number generator. There you go. My last test, it gave out 8. So I'm going to click it. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Brrr. The winner is number 29.
Nice.
Feeling fine. Sean Flynn wins the Yeti. Number 29.
Congratulations, Sean.
Good stuff.
Congrats.
So the kicker is Sean lives in Washington, D.C.
Nope.
So he's going to have to drive his butt down here and pick it up because I'm not shipping that thing.
Right. Shipping might be more than the
cooler. More than the cooler will be. But
too bad he didn't win my $50 gift card. I could have could have paid for the shipping.
Yeah, I'll have to hold on to it and break it in and use it until he makes a trip down here and picks it up.
It might be cheaper to return it and send it to him via
Amazon or something.
Amazon.
Yes.
There you go. Sean just said, hey-o, so he's watching on live. Sean, you won. We are not going to ship this to you. You have to come visit us to get
buy
it.
a house.
So,
with a warranty.
Solar on it.
Sean currently rents 2 different properties, so he's ready to buy. But DC is a little bit different market than we're used to up here. Virginia now, right, Sean? Not DC.
I bet you have some partners up there, though, Rick, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We've connected a little bit, and his old landlord's a big investor as well. Well, guys, this was fun. Happy the way it worked out, and I appreciate all the knowledge and the notes. And we're going to be able to segment this out now, and be able to promote you guys on the show through the different podcasts, the different YouTube channels. If you're out there listening right now and you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe our channels. We're going to do this once a quarter, feature some different pros. We've got a website launching, thebosleyteam.com. It'll be live next week. And we've got all of our pros that we endorse. We've got about 85 different people who we heavily have vetted, we've endorsed. So if you need anything from a dog groomer to a landscaper to any of these pros here, we've got them right there that you don't have to go to Angie's List or Nextdoor. You can just go right through, and they are going to maintain and stay updated, so you can always make sure you're in good hands. So thanks for kicking off the first one. We do the Orlando Homeowner Show every Wednesday live from 12:15 to 12:45, and now once a quarter with the Meet the Pro Show. On that note, it's 4 o'clock. It is 4 o'clock somewhere, and I'm getting thirsty, so we're going to sign out.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you all. Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Good to
Bye,
see you.
guys.
Bye, guys.